minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Three seconds left. 108-105. Knicks lead in overtime. White has the ball, holds it high, throws it to Brown, left wing, stripped by Bridges, hangs onto it, took it away, throws it down court, and the New York Knicks stun the Celtics. 108-105, the final. The Knicks saved their biggest comeback of the season for the biggest win of the year.
Bridges said, "Give me that." And the Knicks steal game one from the Boston Celtics, who went so cold from three, Pearl. You had to wonder, when are you guys going to change up this strategy a little bit and maybe start going to the hole a little? That was not the only upset that happened last night. The Nuggets also in a thriller over OKC, and it was Aaron Gordon's three-pointer at the end that sealed it. He had 2 game winners now in the course of a week. You remember back to game 4 against the Clippers. We had the putback dunk, which was unbelievable. And then he has the 3. The story of the game really was Jokic and how incredible he was. Just masterclass, obviously, from the 3-time MVP, 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 6 assists. He had 18 fourth-quarter points. The question is, both underdogs were really good in game one, obviously stealing game one at the end, more poised at the end of the game. Who do you actually believe could pull off the series upset, though?
Well, I think both underdogs were good, but Denver was better. I think they have a strategic advantage that nobody can cover Jokic.
Yeah.
Obviously, Chet Holmgren is not ready to be here, and the Holmgren-Hartenstein combo cannot. Denver must have seen something on tape because Jokic just shot every time,
right,
and it worked. So I think that I'm not sure what the Knicks' strategic advantage is necessarily. I think both series are definitely up for grabs. I do not think that. I heard a Celtics podcaster say Celtics is in 5. No way.
Oh boy.
Because I think the strategic advantage goes to Denver, but I do think the injuries you cannot downplay with Denver. The fact that Jaylen Brown was clearly
with
not
Boston,
himself.
you mean?
For Boston, sorry. Jaylen Brown is not himself, and Kristaps Porzingis once again with that nagging injury issue.
Is someone poisoning this guy? He had a sickness they said he was out for sickness at the end of the game, right?
They should do an MRI because I was watching him, and there's nothing in between with the chest cavity.
Oh, don't do that.
That is not right. He's got what we call Tin Man syndrome. He has no heart. So you got to remember, he is heartless.
He's a champion.
Hartenstein has more heart than him. Well, he's a champion by name only. Of course he wasn't around. I just think that...
Not around, like he was out taking a smoke break or something.
So, I just think there are 2 key strategic advantages here. I think Denver's size against OKC, and then hopefully for the Knicks fans, Boston wears down, and Boston's just not themselves right now.
Listen, I definitely think that the Nuggets have the better shot. I'm sorry for EJ wearing his Clyde Frazier jersey today, and we'll have plenty of time for our Knicks fans, to get in on this, because everyone thought that Boston was going to cruise, and here comes New York. But for Denver, this is scary times now for OKC, because in both cases you had a deficit, but Denver never really let it get out of hand. The Knicks had to come back from 20 because all of a sudden the Celtics were getting the matchups that they wanted on offense but couldn't hit a shot. The three-point strategy that they have, which is to shoot more than any team has ever shot in the playoffs, They attempted 63s last night, the Boston Celtics. And when you only hit 25% of them, Pearl, you end up letting your opponent back into the game. They're not going to stop that, and I don't think they're going to go as cold. Denver, though, to me, with Jokic, the great equalizer. As good as Shea was last night, Jokic, it felt like at one point, was on his own personal 8-0 run. They closed the game on a 19-6 run. He was playing with 5 fouls, and so was Chet Holmgren, and so was Isaiah Hartenstein. And what was the difference? Hartenstein and Holmgren had to deal with Jokic on the offense, like on the defensive side, and Jokic just starts going at them, lowering the shoulder, trying to bait them. Whereas on the defensive side, Jokic isn't really expected to like stand in. They already have a strategy for that. So it really put OKC on their heels is what I'm trying to get at, and it created an advantage.
One thing, though, just to clarify, Denver's win was crazy.
That was a steal.
Like you said, they didn't let the game get out of hand. That was way out of hand.
Well,
they were down 10
points
with 5 minutes left, and then they were down. They were consistently they were down 4 and 3 and 2 in the last minute. I mean, obviously, the Thunder let them back in with this fouling strategy that the coach got killed for.
Yeah,
the Thunder's last minute was a total meltdown.
Yeah.
So let's not mistake what happened last night. The Thunder should have walked out of there with a win.
Well, it's funny because Ian Eagle, who's phenomenal on the call, said this is an anatomy of a comeback. I'm like, this is the anatomy of a steal. I mean, this was like, it was, if you were a Nuggets fan, I'm sorry for OKC fans, but if you want to weigh in, I'm sure you want to rip your coach today, you're welcome to do that at 888-710-4ISN. But it was like a satisfying heist movie, where like all of a sudden they get away with the artwork, or the diamonds or something, and you're like, haha, how did they do it? It was like Ocean's 17.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The last second steal was big. The Thunder had more of a steal than the Knicks because the Knicks got the lead with 3.5 minutes left.
And then the overtime. And here's the thing: like Tatum went so cold in this game, and
I know he's cold, or he just take terrible shots because he got lazy. I mean, dude, stop being so just. Come on. I felt like the Celtics looked rusty. They looked tired. Oh, my God, did they look old on certain plays. You got Drew Holiday and Al Horford. It's like Methuselah trying to guard the pick and roll. The Celtics saw all their flaw. The Knicks, that's what I wonder about this. You're coming out of this game. Did the Knicks see something they can take advantage of moving forward? And did the Nuggets see something they can take advantage of moving forward?
I think
it's going to be really, really interesting how the two favorites adjust.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I think that the Nuggets saw more, even though that was a just theft at the buzzer. But Tatum, just to put some numbers to it, 0 for 7 in the fourth quarter, 0 for 5 from 3. He had a combined 4 points in the fourth quarter and overtime combined. I mean, I know Brunson is like the finals MVP from last year, but, Tatum has these stretches we've seen before where he goes super cold.
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah.
I'm saying Brown was finals MVP, but Tatum is the guy who you're looking for still to close these games, right? So it's
especially because Brown is hurt. So.
And Brown is hurt because he got a knee thing. Yeah. So you're looking at Tatum, and he just keeps, when he goes cold like this, it is just hard to watch. And I know he's got a wrist issue. Obviously, they kept him out of a game earlier when they played Orlando in the first round. It was brutal.
This is why no one repeats in the NBA, because everybody wears down. And let me ask you one question, though. What about the minutes for the Knicks?
I mean, we've been asking that ever since Tom Thibodeau got introduced as the head coach.
If the series goes 7 games, I mean, Mikal Bridges played a marathon last night.
He was so good in that overtime. I mean, defensively, this is why, we talk about Luka Doncic got traded for 1 first-round pick and Mikal Bridges got traded for 5, and it seems ridiculous. And I don't know. I'm sorry, EJ. I still don't think the Knicks are going to win the series because I don't think the Celtics are going to go this cold. But last night is what you are looking for from Bridges.
Bridges scored 8. You get 8 points in 51 minutes for 6 first-round picks? What are you talking about? He's a role player.
His defense.
Baby.
You don't trade all that for a wing defender.
Well, we won the game. He won the game last night.
Would you do that deal if you could do it again today, EJ?
He won the game last night.
Wait, I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you. I know who won the game.
Yeah.
I said, would you do that deal again?
You said today. Yes, I would, because we just won game 1 against the defending champs. It was because of his defense.
Well, you would be a bad GM then.
I'd be 1-0 against the Celtics. That's what I would be.
Well, here's the thing. I think that the Knicks also, when they're building their team, they were looking at the Celtics, right? As far as who do we match up with in the Eastern Conference, they couldn't They had no success against anybody, including the Celtics, all regular season. But this is the time when you want a guy who can defend in the way that OG and also the Bridges did. And then Bridges hitting the big three in overtime to make it 106-100, and then coming up with 2 blocks and a steal, 2 steals and a block, in the overtime. Listen, for 5 first-round picks, whatever, they're glad they had him last night.
I feel like the Celtics created
because Brunson
that.
went cold in overtime, even though he was phenomenal in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, a couple turnovers.
He was so good in the fourth
Oh,
quarter.
come on. If he was 9 for what? 9 for 23 in the game with 4 turnovers.
Do his fourth quarter numbers.
Yeah, I saw it. 2 turnovers
11
and a brick
points.
in the
He went
last
3 for
2
3
minutes,
from
for
3.
sure.
The reason why we got to overtime was because of Brunson.
Reason you blew the lead in regular time was also because of Brunson, in a sense. He had that travel, and then he threw one away. Facts.
No, listen, I got a little
1-0,
casual at
baby.
the end. Got a little casual at the end.
I mean, listen, Brunson is all heart. I totally agree.
He's
and
amazing.
It's crazy. I don't know how to cover him. I have no idea. But I don't know. It's so funny. This confidence out of EJ is interesting because I don't remember hearing that before the game.
Well, they were major underdogs, which is why it's a story today. So all 3 series, the underdog wins game 1. And we're going back now even to the Pacers and the Cavs. But from last night, if you're just waking up and if you didn't get a chance to see these games, just unreal. Unreal comebacks on both of them. Who do you trust to actually pull off a series comeback, though?
Yeah,
or series upset, I should say. Is it the Knicks or is it the Nuggets?
Yeah, we should definitely put up that poll. Who do you think has the better chance here? I lean Nuggets. I do not count the Knicks out, though, to be fair. I just think
you were
the
impressed with
Celtics
them.
are hurt. I mean, they've seemed worn down. You know, EJ, you do always say playing deep into June affects teams big time.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing a little bit of a wear down. In fact, did that look like the defending champions to you last night?
No, but listen, when you only, make 15 of 63 pointers, and including some which just were good looks, like they got what they wanted on the defensive side in a lot of ways.
I think that they couldn't get to the hole. That's the thing because there's so many good defenders on the perimeter for the Knicks. Okay. The other thing too, they broke a long time NBA record of most missed threes. What was it from last Tuesday? It seems to be a trend where a guy teams.
This is the thing about the Celtics. I can imagine it'd be frustrating to watch this as a fan, even though you are the defending champs, because they're so steadfast in what they do. They will not deviate from it. And you talk to Joe Mazzulla or listen to Joe Mazzulla, he's a stone wall. It's like, hey, you're really bricking all these threes, or the Knicks are doing something that's getting you out of your rhythm. You want to change it up a little bit? He's like, this is what got us here. And it's just, that's it. It's almost Belichick-like, right? Old Belichick, not new Belichick. It's almost just like it's unapologetic and, we're here and left to play the result. Because they're playing the process of just jacking up threes.
But last night, that was unintentional. They were running out of clock. They were running out of their 24. They couldn't see any looks. I don't think those threes were designed by any means. I think they were desperate. It was 24/7. They couldn't get any penetration in the lane. There was nothing open. So Tatum would just chuck up a 3 with a 24-second clock going down. I thought their offense came to a standstill. You need Jaylen Brown to get out or something. That is
what are you
key.
going to do now?
I don't know.
We're into the second round of the
playoffs. Get him to Germany and spin that blood.
You don't have time for that.
His jumper just looked so different from a normal Jaylen Brown game. I'm really worried about the health of the Celtics. And also moving forward, this is going to be a battle of a series.
You're right. 888-710-4ISN. Or the Knicks gave them their best punch in game 1. Now, the Knicks have a lot of grit, so I don't think that they're just going to go away. But we've seen this before where a game 1, like a team is totally amped. They're coming off a game 7. They're high on adrenaline, all that stuff, and they give it everything they got for game 1. And then what happens the rest of the series? We've seen that a lot. Now, again, I don't know. I don't think this Knicks team is just going to fade like that. But the thought crossed my mind.
I don't know if they were getting destroyed in this game. Obviously, there are some, and this was Celtics 4-0 during the regular season. There are some matchup advantages for Boston. I'm not
the
sure.
Injuries, you're right.
I'm just not sure this is the Boston team we saw last year. This is also a test for Jason Tatum. But I know you won the title, but in this situation where you really have to man up and take the ball in the hole, do you want to do that?
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So banana stuff last night. If you were staying up late and watching that, or you just want to hang with us this morning, what you need to know, Aaron Gordon hit a huge three after Jokic put up a master class, and it was just an outright robbery of Oklahoma City in game one for the Nuggets. So they're up 1-0. And then for the Knicks, a little more gritty, a little more rough and tumble, coming back from 20 down. Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter, Mikal Bridges getting it done in overtime. Celtics in a 0-1 hole.
You know, one thing about the Knicks, they did not get a good Cat game. And they did not get a good Brunson. They're not a perfect Brunson game either. If Brunson gets hot, I know he's great in the fourth quarter, but like, what if he plays like that all game? Like, so there is actually some untapped potential with the Knicks too. Yeah, this is scary times.
These are beautiful times.
Oh, you're up 1-0.
Just said they were scary times.
All right, EJ, what bet are you willing to make here that they win the series?
I'm a fan. I'm rooting for my team. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'll get out of here. What? Just enjoy it. No. You
Mr.
put your money where your mouth
Hedge
is.
over there. Mr. Hedge over there. The Eagles are going to lose to the Commanders. The Eagles are going to lose to the Rams.
Single reason the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
So no, we're not doing
You
that.
keep fading him. No, this is Perloff trying to figure out his betting strategy for the Celtics Knicks.
I mean, listen, I'm putting the mortgage on game 2 for the Celtics.
Well, I don't know if your odds are going to be good.
And the Thunder too. This doesn't feel like a home court. I think the road team wants to get out of there 1-1. It does feel like in this kind of situation, regardless of the series, the home team has a great advantage in game 2. I would be shocked if the Knicks come out of Boston with a 2-0 lead. Then I will be shocked.
Well,
I will show up to work in underwear.
You got something.
Well, pants on top of the
Brunson,
underwear.
Let's go. We got something on
Do
the
we
line.
get to pick out the underwear?
Not just underwear.
Oh, well, underwear.
How do you show up normally?
What I mean, I know I can't get good odds on game 2, but I really feel like both these teams are going to come. I think the upset wins, those teams will relax a little bit, and the home teams are going to be totally desperate because both the Thunder and the Celtics walk away saying, "Oh my God, how do we lose that game?"
Yeah,
they have to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a real test here for OKC because that was.
I mean,
rough.
they had that game.
No, I know. So,
Yeah.
after the game, and we'll have some sound for you a little bit later on, but, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the presumptive MVP this season, it was like a quote board of like inspirational quotes. It was like everything you can say after all the right things, the cliche things to say after you lose a game like that. But I'm like, do you even believe this?
Wow, oh my
you
God.
guys just got totally punched in the mouth at the last second.
Can I just share the odds? The Celtics are 10.5-point favorites for game 2, and the Thunder are 11-point favorites for game 2. So maybe I'm not betting that.
It's a little big. 888-710. I mean, OKC was a 10.5-point favorite going into last
Yeah,
night.
and it looked like all game long, it looked like they were probably going to cover that.
I know. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So we're all amped around here because we got 3 upsets now and 3 game ones if you go back to 2 days ago and then last night.
This is amazing, by the way. The first round bit non-dramatic. I think this is setting up to be a heck of a playoff.
It's going to be fun. So let us know, who do you think has a better shot of actually pulling the upset in the series? Is it EJ's New York Knicks? Or is it the Denver Nuggets? Again, 888-710-4ISN. We've got some crazy stuff that happened yesterday off the basketball court. One thing that kind of set the text thread on fire, we'll get to that in a moment because it was probably not unexpected, but still a shocking move from a franchise that we think is generally run pretty well. So a little surprised by this one. We'll get to that in a moment. It's Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Oh boy, things getting real in the break here.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So
My kid's at an age where he's asking questions about very specific anatomical things.
We're not going to get into that.
Anyway,
welcome back, Maggie Perloff
Show.
Truth. I need a camera in EJ Stewart, our executive producer's house. I need a camera. I was dying to know when the Knicks had a last-second shot attempt, and it went down halfway down the rim.
In regulation.
And popped out. What was happening in the Stewart household? Was there a scream going on? Were you looking forward to overtime? Panic?
There may be video of that somewhere.
Oh, did you put it out?
I didn't put it out, but it's there was a video recorded.
But here's the thing, Brunson, so the Knicks win in overtime last night, steal a game from the Celtics. They're up 1-0, and then the Nuggets really stole game one from Oklahoma City, literally in the last second of the game at Aaron Gordon 3. But the funny part about the Brunson missed kind of running floater, sort of one-handed kind of layup situation, he had hit much harder shots in the fourth quarter. He was hitting threes from everywhere. He was 3 for 3 on threes.
That's because he had these stiff centers on him.
But he was wide open at the rim. Like the Knicks actually called
he had to elevate a shot over the defender. That was a hard shot.
Listen, yeah, they're all hard for me.
Yeah.
But I feel like I see guys make those kind of shots. Like there wasn't somebody all over him clobbering him. He had a little daylight, and it was like halfway down.
Well, that's what, if I'm covering Brunson and you get that pick and roll, I would make him drive the ball, at least make him hit a 2 instead of a 3. But EJ, did you freak out or what happened?
Oh yeah, well no, I was like, I thought the game might have slipped away because it seemed like somehow the Knicks actually drew up a good inbounds play, which is impossible for Tom Thibodeau normally. And
or the whole NBA.
Yeah, and it came out of a foul too, so it's a kind of Plan B strategy of having Brunson take the ball out. So there was a lot of panic because it felt like maybe the game was lost, but the Celtics had nothing. They had nothing in that fourth quarter. They had nothing in overtime. Yeah. And I know we're saying Celtics missed shots, and they did miss some shots. I do think Tibbs deserves a lot more credit because he changed the defensive strategy entirely from how they played them in the regular season. There was no more drop coverage.
Right.
They were switching everything. In the first half, Tatum was smart, and he kept driving, which put Hart and Cat in foul trouble.
Right.
Then he stopped, and he started settling for those threes, and that's where the Knicks were allowed to come back in those games. But those are not easy threes. He can make them, but those are tougher shots than the shots the Knicks normally give them.
But isn't that on him? Isn't that his fault then? If you're saying because they got to the 20-point lead by him driving, so what happened? It
is on him, but like at the same time, if your nature is to fire away threes, you're always going to go back to your nature. The Knicks made them play the Knicks game. The Knicks play isolation ball. Yeah. The Knicks want to grind you.
Yeah.
Like the Knicks, when they normally defend you, they allow the Celtics to get wide open threes normally.
Yeah.
They just didn't have nearly as many wide open threes because they're switching every screen. So you have to guard up against a man. Maybe it's Karl-Anthony Towns, and he should kill Towns every time. But guess what? If you're selling for threes, those are hard shots. So shout out to Tibbs. It was a really good defensive game plan.
I don't know. I think I think the Celtics blew it. I think they were taking lazy threes because Tatum just did not have the juice.
But you're forcing them into them because again, if you're switching, it's on you to drive or make the right read. They're not making the right read, which is on them.
Let's go to the phones. 888-710-4ISN. Jay's our pal in Nashville. Jay, who do you think has a better shot to pull off a series upset? And we can use all three, actually. Is it the Pacers, is it the Knicks, or is it the Nuggets?
I'm really hoping the Knicks, because I'm a lifelong Celtics hater, but it looks like all three of them might pull. You say what?
I said you're a card-carrying Celtics hater.
Card-carrying? I'm the CEO, babe. Let me tell you. But it looked like it might be a hat trick. It looked like it might be a hat trick. And I told myself, I even put it in the chat yesterday, you know what, I'm stopping watching sports for the rest of the year because the NBA is not doing anything for me. And then I turn the TV on, just want to look at all the highlights and like, okay, I'm watching. You know what I mean? I need to shut my mouth. But one thing I was telling EJ when he's screaming is like, you ever notice the Warriors always get that one guy to push them over the hump? What they got, Durant fell into their lap. Now playoff Jimmy fell into their lap. And really, I think they'll win another one if they keep Jimmy on that team. They might not be this year. But it's like, how come the Knicks don't ever get that guy? You know what I mean? I like to see I really do like to see the Knicks win like one chip just so I can see the city of New York like lose their ever-loving minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, especially EJ and Manny in there. They probably won't show up to work for a week, but I just noticed that. The Warriors always get that guy.
Yeah, listen, Jay, it's astute observation, and glad you've got that corner office and C-suite over on Celtics Hater Island, but it's not for the lack of trying.
Right.
I mean, the Knicks were trying to go savior route for decades. I mean, they got Melo, who...
Well, he was more of a centerpiece. I think Jay is saying the one guy that puts you over the top, right? But when you already have the centerpiece,
right? That's true. Yeah. But they've been star chasing, if you will, for a long, long time, and it's just I think for a while, and maybe things are better now. I don't think guys wanted to come to the Knicks.
Well, what about
'Cause nobody was leaving the Knicks better off than when they got there.
Would you argue Cat is that guy or
you could
Bridges
argue-
is that guy?
You can argue they made those trades this offseason.
Yeah,
It's the moves to get Cat and Bridges.
Have the Knicks ever gone after Jimmy Butler? I was actually just thinking about that during the call.
It's funny, of all the guys they have put the full court on, no pun intended, I don't think Jimmy Butler's ever been one of them.
They've tried for Durant before, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They tried
so-
for Durant and Kyrie
So I think
summer of 2019.
Yeah, I think Jay is talking a level up from Cat and Bridges. That one, but I think you could squint and say that Bridges and Cat are that guy. I'm not sure I'm quite there.
Well,
maybe
that's also
Giannis,
not a superstar falling in your lap. Like
Yeah.
what happened to the Lakers, that's not
right?
happening.
Maybe Giannis down the road. That kind of. I think that's what Jay's saying. Like, when's a Giannis going to come to New York?
Or even like a Devin Booker, I'll take.
Give it a few weeks. T is in Alabama. What's up, T?
Hey, how y'all doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
If I had to answer that question, I'm not saying they're gonna do it, but I gotta go with Denver.
Yeah.
Just the fact they got championship core, and to me, and this is my opinion, and I'd like to hear you guys talk about it. Don't you think this is a show me playoffs for the Oklahoma City Thunder? I feel like they're under the most pressure out of all the teams. I'm not saying they gotta win the championship, but they at least gotta go to the finals. I'm talking about the NBA finals because of the core and you know what I'm saying. There's just the steps that they have taken. I just feel like they're under the most pressure to, I guess you could say, like I said, not win the championship, but at least get there.
T, 100% agree. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win the MVP. They had 68 wins and the largest margin of victory ever in NBA history. Everything is pointing Thunder. They, if they lose this game, I think you're going to start talking about SGA as a James Harden type, a guy who is amazing in the regular season and can't do it in the playoffs. Just like we talked about Joker a couple years ago,
right,
before he did it in the playoffs. I think there's a lot of pressure on OKC, and I think you saw a little bit of that last night.
Yeah, well, then they've got to get their heads together. And I'm talking about their head coach. If he indeed is, the reason why they took almost no time off the clock to intentionally foul Jokic first and then Aaron Gordon, both guys hitting free throws in the final seconds of the game. Meanwhile, they could have taken way more time off the clock, but they wanted to intentionally foul, which I'm not against. It's just you got to understand when they're doing the intentional foul on Aaron Gordon when they're up 3, Jokic was on the bench at that point. Like, you don't want to let a few more seconds tick off the clock. Gordon hits those threes, and then on the other end, Chet Holmgren got fouled and missed both threes. So, everyone's got to...
Yeah, that's not on the coach at Chet Holmgren, who's a good free throw. I mean, what is he?
It's like 75%.
75%.
Yeah, I mean, that's not on the coach.
Well, it's on the coach to say, hey, let 4 or 5 seconds come off the clock before you intentionally foul Aaron Gordon with Jokic on the
I mean,
bench.
by the way, the Knicks did the same thing. They intentional fouled, was it Tatum at the end of... And he was just about to get into a shooting motion, and they
close.
happened to win that game. So listen, it's not like that strategy doesn't work sometimes too. I hear you. I just think the OKC you kind of felt it last night, late in game. Felt like one team has been there before and one team hasn't.
No doubt. 888-710-4ISN. So let us know, who do you think of the underdogs that won game 1? Who actually has a chance to pull off an upset? So last night it was the Nuggets, and last night it was the Knicks. Let's not forget 2 days ago it was the Pacers who pulled off the first game upset over the Cavs. Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines. Hello.
Guys, good morning. Those headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and progressive.com. I'm told it's a scheduled day off, but I'd prefer to assume that we simply don't know where Manny is this morning after this.
3 seconds left. 108-105. Knicks lead in overtime. White has the ball, holds it high, throws it to Brown, left wing, stripped by Bridges, hangs onto it, took it away, throws it down court, and the New York Knicks stun the Celtics.
The Knicks were down 16 at halftime, 20 in the third quarter, but stole game 1 from the Celtics, 108-105 in OT. And Mikal Bridges saying, "Get the out of here, Boston," with that last-second strip of Jaylen Brown. The Knicks missed 14 free throws, were out-rebounded by 10, but the Celtics missed a postseason record 45 threes, and Kristaps Porzingis didn't play after halftime because he's sick. Game 2 in Beantown tomorrow night.
Why you sound so sad?
The other
Exactly.
part, So, as
Jesus.
someone who recently
Good morning, bro.
got a terrible stomach bug that was forcing me to be vomiting while driving on the highway, do not recommend. 0 stars. What do you think Porzingis had?
Yeah, I mean, I told this story. I call it Tin Man syndrome. It's a huge hole in your chest cavity where you have no playoff heart.
I mean, so the opposite of having
The
that
dude
dog in him.
bled in the previous round and hit shots.
Oh God! You know what?
Finish your thought.
Honestly, of course, KP did. Of course,
No one can make me believe my
honestly,
own blood.
EJ, you're a Knicks fan. Are you shocked that KP wasn't there? Of course, he didn't show up.
Of course not. I mean,
Okay,
you're not going to find a KP defense for me today.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't think he was cowering in a stall pretending to have diarrhea or something, guys.
Afraid of
what
Mitchell Robinson.
happened?
Michael Jordan would have dropped 45 in that situation.
Well, obviously, with with it running down his leg. I just don't know what causes you to miss those last 5 minutes of a fourth quarter.
I'll tell you what it is. I think this team got overconfident. I think he was like, I'm not feeling great. We got these guys. Like, they should be able to handle it. Let me get healthy.
Well, he was terrible.
But he
when
could have
was on
come
the court.
back. He didn't leave the arena.
No, but he could.
But once you rule him out, I think you can't be like, oh, never mind. He's actually okay to go.
He didn't hit a shot though, right? He was terrible.
He
on
was
the court.
he was not good. And again, the
he
Knicks, I
couldn't
think
play.
the strategy was good. I think that's being underrated because they again switched on him too. He didn't allow him wide open threes.
But just remember the
was a
whole
disaster.
earlier this season where he had an illness and they couldn't diagnose it.
Something weird's going on because he got Mookie Betts, who not a Boston athlete anymore, but former Boston athlete, had the same thing where we didn't know what
he
was
had
going on.
like a parasite or something.
Yeah, he lost like 100 pounds in a week or whatever. Like something's weird happening.
But isn't this just the flu? That's what I saw it described.
I know, but
as
I
a
think
flu
he's gotten
game.
the flu like 2 times. That's what I'm saying. It's like he was sick earlier this season, and now all of a sudden it's like either unprecedented bad luck or the guy is.
I mean, Gary Payton
Eating
III.
something bad?
Gary Payton III didn't play Game 7 because of
Right.
an illness. And again, this is the playoffs. Like, I know we joke about low management, but guys aren't trying to miss playoff games.
But you
Of course
know,
not.
there's going to be no KP in Carson. This is a Horford. I mean, Horford was there last year. He'll be there this year. There's no Porzingis when it matters.
I'm just wondering, is this a food poisoning situation? It's weird though because guys are at home.
Yeah, he's
not
in
the
Boston.
Warriors, but
Yeah.
you're in Boston, so we're not going to get one of those, Michael Jordan alleges that a pizza came to his hotel room in Salt Lake City that had been tampered with.
I think you're underestimating the Porzingis factor. Like, if the Celtics advance and it gets in, you are not going to see Kristaps Porzingis on the court in a key moment. It's going to be Al Horford till the end of time, till he's 74 years old. I mean, I just think Porzingis never shows up.
From the Knicks to the Nuggets and their thievery of Game 1 in OKC.
7 seconds. Front court over to Westbrook. Left side Gordon for the win. Yeah! 2.8 seconds left coming back the other way. Williams from half court. Baked it no good at the horn. And the Denver Nuggets shock the Oklahoma City Thunder in game number 1.
That's Jason Kosmiski on Nuggets Radio. The Aaron Gordon winning 3 coming after Chet Holmgren missed 2 free throws. Denver winning 121-119 after trailing by as many as 14. Still down 11 with 4.5 minutes left in regulation. Gordon had 22 points and 14 rebounds. Nikola Jokic 42 and 22 plus 6 assists. Real Canoe has now produced an NBA Coach of the Year. Kenny Atkinson receiving 59 of 100 first-place votes to win the award after leading the Cavs to 64 wins and the number 1 seed in the East in his first year in Cleveland.
It would be funny if instead of retiring jerseys, we were going through Kenny Atkinson's playing resume yesterday. You've never heard of any of these teams, and one was a
Playing's doing a lot of work in these instances.
Yeah, a club called Real Canoe that we think is actually just some kind of aquatic club that fielded a basketball team in the mid-90s. But do they retire an oar for you instead of a jersey? What would be apropos?
We've lost Maggie to this Real Canoe story.
I just
it's
wanna
her new
go
eBay
there.
is Kenny Atkinson's play.
Yeah, what's the other one? JFK.
And I got
Kenny Atkinson's semi-pro basketball career.
And I got a new one for you because there's a little bit of a hockey conspiracy
bring it
growing
on.
this morning.
Oh, about the Islanders?
The Islanders were supposed to hold next year's All-Star game, but that's being downgraded to a send-off event for the players heading to the Winter Olympics. The team might not be too happy about this. The New York governor, Perloff's friend, Kathy Hochul, sent an angry letter to the NHL about this. Now, the Isles still may get a big event in 2027.
Okay.
But last night, despite having just a 3% chance, they won the number 1 pick in the NHL draft lottery. So was that
a little bit of a makeup call
to soothe some hard feelings over this All-Star game snafu?
Wait, did they not know that the Olympics were happening? Like, that's why the All-Star game, right? Is that why they're not getting the All-Star game next year?
I thought because the last year,
it's all snowballing. I don't know when
because the Four Nations Cup,
Yeah, Four
you're
Nations
saying?
was
Oh,
so
I'm
awesome.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I don't know when they were awarded the 2025 All-Star game, but then the Olympics happened, and then the Four Nations Cup was so great, and they've got a scheduling issue with next January, February with the Olympics and the All-Star game.
Got it.
So
the Islanders are getting the shaft on
and they're getting half
that.
a shaft.
Okay.
Okay, I will give you,
That's what
this
she said.
does make me apprehensive about the possibility that a lottery was fixed there.
Well, here's a question, and forgive me because I haven't been scouting the hockey minor leagues and the like this. Is there a Connor Bedard here to be taken, like a number 1 generational talent?
No, the dude's name I think is Gavin McKenna, and he's not draftable until the following draft. I don't think
So
there's
the makeup call, the make good, isn't even really
right. They're not getting. There's no obvious guy here at the top of this draft, as far as I know.
There's no Cooper Flag of hockey coming out.
And in the NHL's defense, the lottery last night was 100% public. You were watching the things bouncing around as the teams were as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't like somebody came out of a back room or there was nobody reaching into it for a cold envelope.
Well, frozen envelope happened on live TV.
But it was in a bag and you couldn't see it frozen on TV. Like you were watching.
That's why it was so brilliant.
Right.
Yeah, there's actually no real proof that happened, but anyway.
Guys, I mean, don't let your eyes deceive you.
So, okay, if you guys, you're such a sure thing that you have to tell me in advance. Your theories on who they're fixing this lottery for make no sense.
The NBA you're talking about.
Yes. You actually said, I think they're ready for Washington to have a good franchise.
Washington just got the draft, the NFL draft in 2
I know.
years.
The NFL
They're
draft.
expecting 1 million people to show up to the National Mall for that.
The Washington Wizards are the most irrelevant franchise in the history of sports. So,
And what changes it overnight if they get flagged?
but
Listen, take it up with Adam Silver.
I just feel like you will play Monday morning quarterback and think it's like, well, of course Utah won it. Because,
I think Utah has a shot too.
Utah's the one that's going to get the favor because they like what's
because
his
they
name,
like
Ryan
that owner
Smith
so much.
Yeah,
they love that guy.
And
White superstar.
I
I mean,
didn't want to say it,
let's
Maggie,
call
but
it what
there
it
you
is.
go.
I mean, listen, you could say that about a couple different markets, but for sure, I just think DC. I don't know. I think they're trying to maybe get on the good side of the president. I don't know.
So the Jazz also extended their coach out of nowhere.
Yeah.
for
Saw that.
like a lifetime contract.
That's some press release. He's won 85 games in 3 years, but let's lock him up because he's in charge of the future.
By the way, if you're going to go with that owner theory, then there's another team who's going to win the lottery because I saw the Sixers owner handing Trump a jersey yesterday. That would help the Sixers get up in the lottery if you're going to go with the Trump route.
Nah, Philly's already got your Super Bowl.
Yeah, we got Josh Harris at the White House doing some work for the lottery.
Put it in a good word.
Yeah.
Shaking hands, kissing babies.
And I think the Commanders and the Wizards are two different things because the Wizards are beyond irrelevant. I think that would be very bad for the NBA if Cooper Flag ended up there.
Or it creates, buzz in a market that's actually it's a top 10 market. DC might be top 6.
I mean, he disappears for 4 years until the Lakers get him if he goes to DC, in my opinion.
No DC, no Charlotte.
Charlotte can't happen either.
Yeah.
And actually, honestly, Utah, it's probably not ideal.
It's not, but I think the Ryan Smith angle, the ownership angle, is what sways me.
And
to them.
Utah's a good fan base too, unlike the Wizards and the Hornets.
Yeah, and the Nets are too far away. It's
he ain't
too
going to
obvious
Toronto
if the
in
Nets get it.
this political climate.
Not
Toronto's not going.
That would basically be a declaration of war.
And then the Spurs is interesting because I do think they want a little dynasty there.
They got Wemby.
No,
Castle and
Pop had
Wemby.
to retire. I could definitely see the Spurs getting it.
You can see that. I can definitely see the Spurs. I think they're trying to they need another sort of, I think they're worried when LeBron is gone, we need something big. That'd be way more dramatic than sending him to Washington with, I don't even know,
Or the
with Corey
Pelicans.
Kispert.
That would be terrible.
What?
Well, the
The
Pelicans got
Pelicans, too.
Zion, and they couldn't make that work. I don't think you get another bite at the apple.
Well,
No,
wait,
no
and-
shot for the Pelicans.
Unless, is Zion, is there any chance Zion stays there? None, right?
Does it matter?
There's a chance. Yeah,
Be
that's a
Zion
question,
and
too.
Flag. I mean, I would tune into that on TNT on a Tuesday.
You want to
Yeah.
talk about irrelevant
With one's
franchises,
playing.
though. You want to talk about relevant franchises. Pelicans are right there.
Right. Get there early for that. Maybe
When
that's a
Zion got
November
drafted,
date.
they got 16 of their first 17 games were primetime TV. So they will promote the Pelicans.
I know, Pearl. That was now like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, like, the fact that they got Zion, they're like, let's do this thing. Here he is. So the NBA, in all fairness, can make small markets huge. LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, he made Cleveland the spot.
And even LeBron thinks that was a setup. So my conspiracy theories about the draft are, I think, totally within reason. And Bogusch, thank you for bringing me that Islanders thing, because that will now be my new personality. 888-710-4ISN. Appreciate that. We are asking you today, who has a better shot of pulling off a series upset? We saw two big ones in game one last night. So are you riding with the Knicks or the Nuggets? And even if you go back 2 days, how about the Pacers over the Cavs? It's the Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie Perloff Show. Okay, we get back to hoops in just a moment, but we did have this story that came across yesterday, Pearl, and I can't say I was shocked by it, but, a little bit, and that was the Ravens releasing Justin Tucker yesterday. So Justin Tucker is obviously the 5-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, 7-time Pro Bowler, one of the most accurate kickers of all time, but that's sort of taken a way back seat to 16 different women accusing him of similar things to Deshaun Watson, being inappropriate, beyond inappropriate in massage sessions.
Right.
And, right now not being charged with anything. These are all allegations, but we saw the Ravens take a kicker in the draft in the 6th round. So the writing sort of appeared to be on the wall. Moving this beyond the Ravens, you brought up a great point last night on our text thread. Do you want to ask the audience what they think?
So, okay, there has been no civil trial yet.
No civil charges yet, even.
Yes.
But we could be trending there. I mean, 16 women have.
You don't need any charges to create a civil trial. Someone has to do a sue. And
also, the NFL is investigating. Right. And the NFL doesn't need civil or criminal charges to hand out a suspension.
Right. So I'd be surprised if there wasn't legal action against him at some point, because there's nothing to lose if these, there are a lot of allegations out in the air. But the question is, would the NFL Hall of Fame voters put him in if, say that this is not cleared from his name, say it's still part of the story with Justin Tucker,
right?
Would that keep him out of the Hall of Fame? And I think, here's my thing. You're very, very thin, your margin to get in the Hall of Fame if you're a kicker. You are not a first ballot. At the end of the day, you're a kicker. Even the greatest kicker of all time, Justin Tucker, no doubt, best kicker I've ever seen, huge weapon for the Ravens, changed the game 100%. You're still a kicker. And I think voters are not going to have a lot of tolerance for character issues here.
Okay, so I think I'm not trying to cop out here. I think it depends how this plays out in the legal realm. If it's, messy civil trials, if there is something criminal. These are not allegations from 100 years ago. It's 2012 to 2016. This is right in the beginning of his career, and who knows if more women will even come out from that. So we're not talking about something that happened in high school for him or college. This is while he's a professional. But I think if either he pays for these women to go away or is never actually found, liable, culpable, whatever you want to call it, on a civil trial, I think he's getting in. And I think he's getting in because I think the threshold is so high to keep guys out. Like Darren Sharper right now is sitting in a jail cell for the next, 17 years or whatever for being found guilty of violating women, drugging them. I mean, what a horrible situation that was. I think the threshold is so high. Like Ray Lewis on his own team got cleared basically of murder, but was, obstruction of justice came through, and he walked into the Hall of Fame. And now he's
the face of the NFL.
He won an MVP.
But Darren Sharper,
after
by
that.
the way, 4-time All-Pro who never got any advancement in Hall of Fame voting. You don't think he would have? He definitely would have gotten. He would have started to move along the process.
Who, Darren Sharper?
Yeah, it would have been quarterfinalists or whatever. They do rounds where they knock people off. He has a big resume, and he didn't even get a sniff.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that's the extreme. Like this, if he's not found guilty of anything or liable or anything like that, I think they will let him in. And I know that's going to be extremely awkward, distasteful. They'll wait this out. They won't put him in anywhere close to first ballot. They'll wait. And, I look back at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And by the way, I'm not saying I'm in favor of that. I think there are character clauses. Like I was totally okay with the with the Baseball Hall of Fame, keeping out Curt Schilling. Like, I understand what you do here. I think.
Oh, but that was Baseball Hall of Fame for why would they keep out Curt Schilling? That's never made even the slightest bit of sense.
Well,
to me.
the Baseball Hall of Fame does have a clear character clause, even though they also say you should be judged by what
but
happens
that's not what
on the field.
They never said that for Schilling.
They just kept
People
him
just
out.
didn't vote for him.
Yeah, people just didn't vote for him.
They were not voting him on for baseball reasons. They said because he had a bad win-loss record. Anyway, the two are apples and oranges. But regardless, has the Hall of Fame ever let in a player who was in an active trial?
Well, but I don't think I'm saying that he would if this gets messy with trials and stuff, then obviously that's going to be a totally different story. But if this is just sort of these allegations never get proven one way or another, and it's only the court of public opinion that's really convicted him, I think they still let him in. And
I just think
there's no character clause with the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I'm just saying, we saw what happened with Deshaun Watson. The number of accusers and the legal action just increased and increased and increased.
Yeah.
That's why you have to wonder when this kind of scandal, like this doesn't get smaller, it gets bigger.
And Deshaun paid them all to go away. And I don't know if
definitely
Tucker's
went to court.
Would
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Rebound down to Christian Brown. You got to hurry. 7 seconds. Front court over to Westbrook. Left side Gordon for the win. Yeah! 2.8 seconds left. Coming back the other way. Williams from half court. Baked it no good at the horn. And the Denver Nuggets shock the Oklahoma City Thunder in game number 1. Final tonight, 121 to 119. Oh, baby!
Nuggets Radio Network. How did the Nuggets steal game 1 on the road against Oklahoma City? It was unreal, Pearl. I was saying it was kind of like a fun heist movie, unless you're part of OKC. It felt like a heist movie. Like all of a sudden, they escaped with the diamonds, and how did they do it? It felt bizarre because Nikola Jokic was unbelievable in this game, playing with 5 fouls for most of the fourth quarter. Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein also in foul trouble and kind of put them on their heels a little bit with Jokic, and he was masterful. And then Aaron Gordon took him home with that three-pointer. And it's funny because Aaron Gordon just had this unbelievable putback dunk at the buzzer that stole a game away from the Clippers, game 4 in the first round. And here he is, Johnny on the spot again.
He's amazing. He's having a great postseason. He is now really establishing himself as an underrated star. I mean, he was a big deal because of the slam dunk contest and all that. But I remember in Orlando, I'm like, oh, this guy's a star. And then he's a role player. But he is so good. I think every team would want that guy. By the way, Russell Westbrook, apology, played pretty well last night. Can I tell you who the most
big three in a big
most
moment,
confusing player in the history of the NBA? What happened to Michael Porter last night? Why couldn't he catch a pass? Like, is that guy? I think he has Monstars syndrome. Have you ever seen Space Jam? When the Monstars take all their talent, he gets in his head so bad where he can't even do the basic functions NBA, which is interesting because the Nuggets didn't get anything out of him. What if they got something out of him? So that's a great series.
Yeah, they got a tight rotation too, the Nuggets. Like they don't
go
very
have any
deep.
depth.
No, they don't. And it's funny because they're coming off of game 7 and you might think, oh, they're going to be, exhausted. But Jokic just takes them to another level. I mean, to have 42 points, 22 rebounds, 6 assists. He had 18 fourth quarter points. And again, playing most of it with 5 fouls and just unafraid to go after both Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein. There was a little bit of controversy at the end of the game with the Oklahoma City coach. Too quick to intentionally foul Aaron Gordon when they were up 3 with Jokic on the bench. And Gordon calmly hits those free throws. Then on the other side, Chet Holmgren gets fouled. Not the coach's fault, but he misses both of those free throws, and it did leave the door open.
Yeah, I mean, and he shot 2 line drives. Clearly nerves got to him.
Oh, he was not even thinking. He must have just been not even able to see straight out there.
Yeah,
I mean, pressure situation.
I think he wants a revenge game. I would pick both those favorites big time in game 2.
Yeah, but as far as who could actually pull off a series upset, that's what we're asking you today on X at Maggie and Pearl. Do you believe more in the Knicks, who beat the Celtics last night in overtime? EJ's happy. Or the Nuggets to take out Oklahoma City? And by the way, let's just not undersell. Oklahoma City is having a historic season. You mentioned it.
Yeah,
68 wins.
14, won by 12 points a game, all-time biggest margin of victory. But, and I don't get it. We talked about this yesterday. You don't fire your coach with a week left in the season and all of a sudden go on a playoff run.
They said they were vindicated by that with the Game 7 win over the Clippers. They got the desired result, is what they said. And Michael Malone has to sit home and probably just throw something at the wall.
Right. When I say you don't do it, it's never happened before, but maybe it's the interim coach bump. I know that in the NFL. Yeah, the Nuggets
Usually
obviously
around week 5.
Right, the Nuggets have championship pedigree. I think we forgot about that. Honestly, I think both series. I think there's a chance for an upset in both series. I know the poll won't say that, and the odds right now are still strongly with the favorites. I think these are very interesting.
Well, let's not also forget 2 days ago, the Pacers upset the Cavs on their home floor. So we've had 3 first game upsets, and pressure's on the Warriors now. Yeah,
the Warriors feels a little different.
Warriors of T-Wolves.
The Warriors T-Wolves feels closer to a toss-up where nobody was picking the Knicks. I think most people had faith in the Thunder. Literally
no
nobody
one on television.
Except there was one guy in our building who picked him, and it was very notable.
Loogie.
Tommy Lugauer, give him full shout out.
Shout out to Loogie.
It was, and it sounded strange. There was a guy on my Twitter. He's like, "I think the Knicks are going to win this series." I'm like, "The Knicks?" And now it feels more realistic.
And of course, you're going to get that Warriors Timberwolves is going to tip off tonight. You get Pacers Cavs game 2 tonight as well. Let's go to JT. He's in Atlanta. What's up, JT?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Perloff, why are you just killing everybody this morning? No heart, and then Porter Jr.'s got Monstar syndrome. He actually has a shoulder injury.
Yeah. No,
I don't know if you're.
That is, he got in his head last night. You could see he was really having trouble figuring out where to go and what to do. There was a loose ball where Joker thought he was going to get it, and he didn't get it. I know, but he's been he was pretty good in the last series, at the end of the last series. I think he is a player. I know about the shoulder, but he's a player who gets in his own head. All the talent in the world, but you never know where you're going to get from him. I think that's fair to say, right, JT?
I can agree with that. I mean, as far as his head, but I thought he was hurt too. So
you're right.
Give him a little
Still
break.
played 24 minutes last night.
But they threw there were 2 passes that went right to him and went right through his hands. He was definitely feeling self-conscious last night.
As far as the upset, I would want to say Denver because really they don't have an answer they just match up for Joker, but I'm not. I think the Pacers are going to send Cleveland home. Cleveland's just too banged up right now, and the Pacers are riding on all full cylinders right now, and they're healthy as they can be. I think they've been overlooked for a while now. And I think they got a well-balanced team that they don't really rely on any one star per se, but they got a lot of good players that can carry them on any given night. And with the injuries to Cleveland, I think they're the one my favorite to pull off the upset.
JT, it's a good call, and you're just looking, and thank you for making it. You're looking at injury reports, and the latest is that Evan Mobley in serious doubt to play game 2 tonight. Obviously, we know the Darius Garland. And for the Pacers, what is it, EJ? EJ's on phone. It's 5 or 6 players averaging 10 points a game?
Yeah, and I know
more than that.
6 were in double digits in game 1. What if we had a Pacers-Knicks conference finals just like last year? That would be so funny. I'm sorry. Because nobody saw that coming, and it would be the ugliest 7-game series in the history of the world. It would be a battle to the death if those 2 teams played again.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's left standing for the Knicks at that point. Pacers, same. Let's go to Frank's in Georgia. Frank, what do you got, pal?
Hey, good morning, guys. I really think the Pacers are going to be the upset and send Cleveland home. Probably take 6 or 7 games, but I think that's going to be the upset of the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, that'd be a big one, too, for the Cavs, because I know that they'd be hurt, so they'd have the built-in excuse, with Garland and if Mobley's hurt and all of that. But number 1 seed in the East, expectations certainly on Donovan Mitchell, and when is this team going to break through? And then you got to wonder about the offseason, because you've said it, Pearl, Cleveland could be an attractive destination maybe for somebody to glob on trying to ring chase.
Or somebody could leave Cleveland. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure they're built like a champion. I mean, there seems to be something missing there. And, you look at talent-wise, Indiana's not far behind. I mean, you got big stars. You got Halliburton. You got Miles Turner, Siakam, now Nembhard. I think you have a lot of – it's not like there's a huge talent disparity, is there?
No, I think they match up really well against each other. I just think the Cavs are going to run out of gas. They're just not used to this.
Frank, it's a great point. Frank, are you the same guy who called in like many, many months ago dispelling the notion about calamari?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll always remember that, Frank. You did a great service to the show that day, and your service will always be appreciated around here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Frank really settled a big. Do you remember that?
I was
Yes,
off that
I do.
day,
I do.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was a.
It's kind of gross, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I did this start in the chat?
Actually, it is an urban legend that is out there about calamari.
Yeah, the calamari is like
It's sort of a
like an anus or something.
like an
right?
octopus's butt or something.
Yeah, something like that. And we were like, what?
Because I
No
guess
way.
yeah.
And we're Googling it and like now regretting every life choice of ever ordering calamari. And it was like a whole big deal. And Frank called in and he was like the voice of reason. He's like, it's an urban myth. It's just a legend. A calamari is just a squid.
I got very scared back here. You know, calamari's like my favorite food.
I know.
No way. You're a
doubt.
calamari guy?
Love calamari.
Who doesn't? I mean, it's such a crowd pleaser.
Easily top 5 EJ food.
And I like the tentacles the most.
Same.
More than the rings.
I know. Andrea hates them, which is great because I get them all.
You still order stuff even though your fiance doesn't like it?
No, she likes calamari. She doesn't like the tentacles.
Oh, so it's like flats and drums
Yes,
for the
exactly.
wings. Nice.
But you
No
just
wonder
like
you
the
guys are a
breaded
match.
kind, or will you, if you're at a nicer restaurant, will you get a grilled calamari?
Oh, yeah.
I will do a grilled, but fried is what I want.
And what do you dip it in?
Marinara.
Well, marinara is great, but also like I don't know what I would call this sauce, but like almost like a
like a tartar sauce?
yeah, but not
It's the
even
white sauce, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's other sauces that go really well with it, almost like a chili kind of type sauce.
Oh, okay,
That
yeah.
also goes really well with calamari. I make calamari. It's one of the things I make.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't think
make
I've
them.
ever bought it to make it home.
You reminded me there's a Homer Simpson line where Homer's at a wedding and he loves the little hot pigs in a blanket
Yeah.
because he says he's so into the sauce. He goes, brother, it looks like ketchup. Man, that ain't ketchup. It's even better. And he's so excited about the sauce. That was EJ. I've never seen your eyes light up like that talking about the sauce.
No,
and
I know,
calamari
because there's a
visit.
place I order it from, and they do a different sauce. They don't do marinara. They do a different kind of sauce, and I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a little more tangy. It's like pinkish. It's really good.
I think calamari belongs like an all-time appetizer.
Definitely.
I think it's, not to go sports talk radio cliche, but it's a Mount Rushmore appetizer.
I got to be honest. I like calamari, but I feel like I'm going to order calamari to distract everyone else at the table so I can get into the really good hors d'oeuvres.
What else do you want? What's over calamari? Like wings?
I like wings. No, I'm talking about there's certain. I'm a big. What's that dip called? Artichoke cheese dip.
Yeah, that's really
That's
good.
amazing.
Nachos?
Guacamole. I'm
Yeah.
going to try and steal all the chips and guacamole I can.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the guacamole. I'm not a guacamole guy.
Oh,
don't like avocados.
sometimes you'll order crab cake as an appetizer.
Do love
and
crab
those
cake
go
appetizer.
fast.
Mozzarella sticks?
No, I'm talking like a little higher end, like shrimp.
What
You
about a
know,
jalapeno
ba-
popper?
Nah.
Don't sleep on that, guys.
When you go to a steak restaurant, by the way, if there's ever some form of pork belly or it's just like big strips of bacon,
Yeah.
Oh, what about
those are
those
popular.
mac and cheese like balls?
Oh, the fried
Oh,
mac and cheese. Yeah.
Those are good.
I mean,
That's
I always felt
like
those were a
food innovation, right?
I don't know
there.
why I feel like those are a little overrated.
I don't usually order them. The same with the mozzarella stick. Like I don't. What am I doing here? Fried cheese. I need a
Yeah,
little
but
bit
I
more.
mean, I think if you're getting the calamari, that's a lot of fry.
I know, but at least I get the squid. I don't know. Just thinking about it, Frank jogged my memory because there was definitely a rampant rumor that calamari was some kind of yeah.
I never told you guys a story that
Nether
I
region.
almost burned down my kitchen making calamari.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was frying the calamari, had a whole plate ready to pull them out, and on the plate you got to have your paper towel
Of course,
on the
soak
plate.
up the oil.
Right. And I guess I didn't know how long the paper towel was, and the paper towel got underneath my
Burner?
my burner. Paper towel goes up in flames, and like because I'm a dope, I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? And I just didn't do anything. So Andrea runs in, she's like, throw it in the sink.
Somebody do something.
Yeah, turn the water on. And then she, thankfully, otherwise I'd have one hand and one knee.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy story. My brother was there too.
Funny, it doesn't really jive with your role as an executive producer because your job's basically to put out not real fires, but like metaphorical fires.
I know.
And you're good at it. But when a real fire happened, you panic.
No, Andrea puts out fires in my life. I put out fires in my work life.
There we go.
Yeah. Competence in the kitchen and being a good radio executive, not really.
Not a Venn diagram there.
No.
All right. Just saying.
Not that you're not
I
competent.
think EJ's cool under pressure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of a certain situation. He's at second and he sees the open third base with no outs.
it.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I feel like EJ he's got a little bit of Inspector Clouseau in him.
Come on. No. That was an unfortunate situation that happened at a charity kickball event.
He's often telling stories
fluke.
of some wild mishap and some story that goes.
Yeah, the paper towel burning up in the
No,
burner.
that's not the only one. There's stories. Maybe it's because I was hanging out with you and your brother. There was.
Oh yeah, you got the
that's
family
true.
stories when you guys hung out in Philly.
Listen, Tristan Casas also had the same issue happen to him. So the Red Sox first baseman tore his patellar tendon. So it can happen to anybody. It's a terrible injury. Wasn't just me.
No, but
He
you
did
have
on
funny
dirt. I did
stories
on
of
a turf.
You found yourself in some situations over the years.
Couple pickles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like getting lost or something. Like you always have funny stories.
Oh yeah. I told you guys how during Royal Rumble, me and my friend were out till like 2 a.m. because we couldn't find an Uber, just roaming the streets of Tampa. That was scary.
But tell you what, that usually doesn't end as well as it did for you guys.
I know people are afraid of Florida man. All Florida men are out at 2 a.m. randomly in the streets of Tampa.
You don't want Florida man to suddenly run into New York City man. That's not a good combo. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, coming up, glad we got that calamari thing. I'm going to do my back of the envelope, top 5 appetizers of all
Like
time.
starters, yeah.
Coming up, somebody's got Penn State as their preseason #1 college football team. We'll talk about that next. It's MMP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. So I yelled, "What?" at my phone yesterday. You guys want to know why?
Yeah.
So I have a favorite college football website, on3.com, because our buddy Andy Staples founded it. It's right on point. And they sent out a social media post about Joel Klatt's top 25. Early top 25. Everybody says, oh, way too early. Fox Sports analyst, former Colorado quarterback, outstanding analyst. He, for some reason, put together a top 25 yesterday, got a lot of noise. And at number one, he had the Penn State Nittany Lions. And that's why I yelled, what? You don't put Penn State at number one. Penn State, I don't care how good they are. I have to see James Franklin win a huge, huge game to consider them a real national title contender. I said to you before, it's like saying James Harden's going to win Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Oh, boy.
I just do not. This is one of the guys in sports who I cannot wrap my head around winning it all. And also, Penn State's never number one. They haven't been, I looked at this, Maggie, they haven't been the number one team in the country since 1997, when they had Curtis Enos, LeVar Arrington, and the defensive end who went number one. I can't even remember his name. But basically, they are never number one, and it just feels weird. They're one of those teams where they face this hump that's in front of them that feels too big historically to get over.
Okay, well, yes, I get it. It didn't actually surprise me. I thought there were other things on this top 25 list that surprised me a lot more, including LSU, Georgia, and Alabama being 7, 8, 9. I mean, Georgia and Alabama being 8 and 9 in anyone's preseason top 25 was a little surprising to me.
Yeah,
but here's
that's
the thing.
true.
Here's the thing about Penn State. Drew Aller is clearly getting a ton of love right now as far as the quarterback's concerned. All we did was just totally crap on this quarterback class that just got drafted, saying, wait till next year, wait till next year. And besides Klubnik, who he has Clemson is 5th on this list, you know, Aller's kind of getting the guy who's getting pumped up to the top here of these early, which is, by the way, not where he should want to be, because it's way too early to be getting this kind of hype for any kind of quarterback.
Drew Aller could have been in this class. I was reading a story about the Giants did a full workup on him. They followed him all year long. Mm-hmm. And he obviously got feedback. And I don't care what he says. He got feedback, you're not good enough. So I think Drew Aller, and by the way, I mean, Drew Aller, we saw in the playoff, he's not productive. I mean, he's just, the stats are not there.
I guess to be the number one, I was a little bit surprised. But here's the other situation here. I think that this is strategic because you're looking at Penn State this year, and Ohio State's coming off a national championship, right? Parity in this sport. I don't know if anyone's going to be repeating anytime soon.
Absolutely.
Michigan, we just saw Sharon Moore. Well, 2-game suspension, doesn't matter. But,
Game 3 and 4, which is still hysterical.
But, you know, we'll see what happens with Michigan. Yep. I'm just looking at Big Ten. And Oregon now, obviously, in the Big Ten. Yep. And Oregon might definitely have something to say about this. So I think he's kind of looking and saying, all right, well, if it's ever going to be the year for Penn State in the Big Ten, and again, I don't know why. I think we should still be talking about Oregon as much as we're talking about Penn State. But
Oregon lost their quarterback too.
Yeah, but now Dante Moore's going to be there. So we'll see. Like the cupboard's not bare is what I'm saying. And so I think that maybe he's looking at this, Joel, this is his top 25, and saying maybe if Ohio State can't repeat, Michigan's down, Oregon, if you don't love the quarterback as much as you love Dylan Gabriel, whatever, this could be Penn State's year.
I would argue if you look at any team in the top 10, nobody lost more than Penn State. They lost their entire offense. Not just 50% of their offense, 100% in Tyler Warren. And they lost. I watched the playoffs. There was one guy who was making every play, and his name was Abdul Carter. Yeah. So those two guys walk out the building, and you're moving up in the rankings. I understand. I think you're right. I think it's Drew Aller hype. But generally, there's so much parity in the sport. Being number one almost feels like a place you don't want to be because someone else is going to come up. I just don't. At the end of the day, for me, it's James Franklin. I don't know if he can string together enough big wins to get out of the 12-team playoff.
Again, the Penn State part of this is definitely interesting, but I think the bigger story is like the SEC. You know, Texas is 2, obviously. Yeah. Texas is we're gonna talk about Texas probably every day come fall, which will be fun because it's the Arch Manning era. But again, LSU, Georgia, and Alabama, 7, 8, and 9 kind of feels like a bit of a sea change maybe happening here with, the Big Ten, who got 3 of his top 4 teams in Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. And then the SEC has now Texas, newcomer to the SEC. And then I mentioned those other 3 Southern schools. And that rounds out your top 10. You don't get another SEC school until South Carolina at 11. So,
who does Joel cover during the season?
The Big 10. No, the Big 12. With Fox, right? He did all those Colorado.
Yeah, but they also have Big 10.
And they have Big 10.
And he does all those.
Well, everyone has a little of the Big 10, remember? Because the Big 10 sold their rights like
I think
the
they
NFL.
have 1A on Big 10 now, but they get the noon games for like Ohio State. Ohio State's always playing.
So you think this is like
Well, I'm just saying,
biased.
Everybody else has South Carolina a lot higher. Everybody else has Georgia a lot higher.
I also think Florida is sitting here at 13. I mean, DJ Lagway, I know Napier's on the hot seat, but DJ Lagway people are really expecting him to take a big step forward, the quarterback.
It is really interesting. You bring up a great point. There are definitely some contenders in this SEC. I think South Carolina is going to be a factor.
Can I bring up another thing about the SEC? I think when push comes to shove and you always have committees who are deciding a lot of this stuff, which I know infuriates people and frustrates people, I still think there is an SEC, I want to say bias. I still think there is a reverence for the SEC. Listen,
but it didn't happen in the playoff picks last year, or maybe they were just too far away.
Not as much last year, but last year was also kind of universally recognized as a down year for the SEC. I don't know how many of those they're going to have in a row. I don't think many.
They have a lot of quarterbacks this year, by the way, the SEC. Like, they have some studs. So I think Joel didn't say this, but I don't think there's a huge drop-off between 1 and, say, 10 in this year's class. Is that fair to say?
Well, I'll frame it to you this way. If I gave you Penn State, Texas, Ohio State, and Oregon in the field, what would you take?
Penn State, Texas, Ohio State. Well, I want Texas and Ohio
Oregon.
State.
This is his top 4.
Yeah, I'll take those top 4.
Okay, so then you don't really think it's wide open.
Well, you're giving me. You have the best player in the country by 50 miles in Jeremiah Smith, and you have Oregon, and you have Texas. So I think this. Honestly, I would have probably put Texas number 1 over here. So, yeah, I want Texas and Ohio State. I know I just went against my own saying, but I do think the SEC will be heard from again. I think they're probably a little underrated in this list.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I
agree with you.
I think when push comes to shove, too, people want to see these SEC
but I do
schools.
think
Not that the Big Ten's that far behind, but still.
I think Alabama is totally different. I think we're having a completely different conversation about Alabama. This is post Nick Saban Alabama. Ty Simpson's on pace to be their starter.
Yeah.
This is not the same Alabama team. So they're not the one that I'm like, I got to get them in the picture.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We'll talk
also, by the way, Notre
Caleb.
Dame, I'd like to have them in the mix too. They're going to be tough.
They're 6th on his list.
Yeah. I'll still take 4. Would you take the field? Come on, you want that Ohio State, Texas, Oregon combo? Admit it.
I do.
Yeah, we all do.
I mean, I have a duck suit hanging in
If
my
you could just
office.
give me Georgia in that 4. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know about Georgia. 888-710-4ISN. Let's get to Andrew Bogusch, who's got headlines. You're welcome to weigh in about who do you think should be at the top of the heap as far as preseason college football expectations. I mean, we could do the whole 4 hours just on Texas alone because of Arch.
You should just put out who, not a poll, but who would you put number one? I'm curious. I don't think people are going to go Penn State. I think that is going to be a rare answer.
Yeah, EJ, who should be number one? Bogusch, I'm sorry that Fordham did not make it into Joel Klatt's top 25.
Oh, there was.
Well, I'm assuming he'll do
buzz.
an FBS poll today to follow up on the FBS one.
Yeah, so way too early FCS.
Yeah.
Spring portal's closed.
I'm sure Klatt's working hard on that.
Exactly. In the meantime, let me bring you a second controversy this morning. First, the Islanders and their debatable draft lottery win. And then there are some suggesting this morning that our beloved Manny was a bad Knicks fan last night, going to the Yankee game while his favorite basketball squad was doing battle in Boston. Now, in Manny's defense, he was paying attention from the Bronx.
Yeah! Let's go, Knicks! Let's go, baby! Yeah!
That's Manny hijacking a stranger's video of Yankee Stadium, and I'm not kidding. I don't want to meet that version of Manny because I don't even know what. His face is scary.
Well, we're all scary when we watch our teams.
No,
Isn't that become a theme? EJ's freaking out. I've done it. I mean, I imagine Perloff's been there. He just won't record himself.
You yelling on a treadmill, EJ screaming at Boston from Detroit from the safety of his Forest Hills, Queens living room.
Hey, a little too close to home there.
I was not afraid of EJ or you. I was afraid of the anger in Manny's eyes as he's screaming at a stranger's phone last night.
It's not anger. It's joy.
No.
Knicks
That
won
was
last
not
night.
joy.
I think you're forgetting a key number here, 2.4, which is Manny's likely blood alcohol level. That's what I think the difference is.
There's a rage in those eyes that I want no part of.
Yeah, see, what I don't like, though, is Manny being called out by our friend Sean Morash for being a bad fan. You know, for going to the Knicks game, going to the Yankee game last night and sitting through that awful weather. It was not a fun day to go to a baseball game, but he's able to watch the game. This is the beauty of living in modern times. You know, it's 2025. You can watch the game. He's didn't miss a second of the Knicks game, and he enjoyed it and got to see this W. I think Manny's fan card deserves to be totally intact.
What if I told you that Timothy Chalamet did not go to the Met Gala last night to watch the Knicks game, and Justin Bieber let Hailey Bieber go by herself because he was watching the Leafs playoff game?
Okay, here's the thing. Manny watching a basketball game at a baseball game, totally acceptable. Chalamet's probably got to do the red carpet, glad hand. It's a different venue. I don't think he could stream it live.
Nah.
Manny's sitting there having a beer and ice cream out of a baseball hat. He can totally watch both games.
You got me with Chalamet. He missed the Met Gala to watch a
He
Knicks
let
game.
whichever Jenner he's dating
cares?
go solo
That
to watch
guy's
the
on
Knicks.
Peter right now.
Oh my gosh, people are looking for reasons to duck that Met Gala since 2012. It's way less. It's way more hassle than it's worth for a guy like Chalamet. Like Kendall Jenner, Kylie, whoever.
Kylie.
The whole Kardashians get way more out of this than Chalamet. He's nominated for an Oscar. He's above it.
Well, Justin Bieber, by the way, is not the model who you want to follow these days. Isn't he in big personal trouble?
He was yelling at some random people outside of a coffee shop.
Yeah. There's pictures of him nodding left and right. Like, things are going bad for Justin
Nodding
Bieber.
off.
Yeah.
Not like giving people the.
At the very least, he's a good Leafs fan.
No,
but anyway, I'm down. I think, now that you said Chalamet skipped the Met Gala, I think Manny should have skipped the Yankees
That's
game.
the indictment on Manny.
Manny deserves a pass, I think, for the number one reason that it was game one. I think
And
in
he
a
was
seven,
watching it.
Yeah, and he was watching it. If this was game 7 or an elimination game, that is one thing. I think he didn't know the Knicks were going to be playing this day. He may have knew they were playing this week. He didn't know this day whenever he got these tickets months ago that they were going to be playing.
Yeah.
Like, I've been at Mets games when the Knicks are playing in the playoffs. I did it when the Knicks lost to the Celtics, ironically. Melo. This is way years ago. What did I do? I didn't have TV on my phone, but I was following the box score on my phone. Like, this is the new age. Mraz's got to get out of here with this.
Well, is it because you guys
take.
deep down inside know that this isn't going anywhere?
That's what it is.
No, it's not.
I mean, that's obvious where Bogusch was going from moment one here.
No,
Manny did not think the Knicks were winning that game.
He definitely didn't.
No.
That's true.
And he was pleasantly surprised, as we all saw on the internet.
Not pleasantly. On the other end of the Manny spectrum, by the way,
crazy.
are those of us who went to bed when the Knicks were down 16 at halftime of Game 1. That hole grew to 20 in the third before they forced OT and stole Game 1 from the Celtics, 108-105. The Knicks getting 29 points from Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby.
We all have experience. You know, Jalen's been in the conference finals. Mikal and Cam been in the Cat's been in the West Conference Finals. So I think collectively we're all experienced group, and shows like in moments like this, like in tough games, you know, we're resilient.
Not to be outdone, the Nuggets pulled off their own stunner in Game 1 in OKC, down 11 with 4.5 minutes to go. But 2 missed free throws from Chet Holmgren gave Denver a chance to win in the final seconds. And they won on an Aaron Gordon 3 with 2.8 seconds left, 121-119. Nikola Jokic, 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 6 assists, but happy that it was Gordon who hit the big shot.
He deserves it. He's like you said, he's the soul of this team. He's a glue guy. He probably doesn't give them much respect that he deserves, but I think he doesn't need like attention, so he knows what he's doing, so I'm happy for him.
Tonight's schedule includes Game 2 for the Cavs and Pacers. Down 1-0, Cleveland may not have Evan Mobley and or DeAndre Hunter for this one, both of whom got hurt in Game 1. Kenny Atkinson said both were doubtful yesterday, but they are officially listed as questionable, as is Darius Garland, who's trying to return from a toe injury. On playoff ice, the Leafs led 4-1, but only beat the Panthers 5-4 to start their second-round series. And maybe A's shortstop Jacob Wilson is the most clutch hitter, the Jalen Brunson, you may say, of baseball.
Right-hander bending in, now ready. He's at the belt. Wilson, a right-handed hitter. And the 0-2 pitch is swung on, and a line drive, base hit to center, and the A's have won it. Jacob Wilson comes through once again for the green and gold.
That's A's radio. Wilson, a game-ending RBI single in the 11th after tying the game in the 10th with an RBI single. This is his second walk-off hit of the young season and third in less than 65 career games. The A's topped the Mariners last night 7-6 in 11.
Every time you bring up one of these A's, I'm like, oh, should I know who this person is? Should I know who this person is? Then I look up their stats like, oh, it's okay. I don't.
This guy's brand new. You're good.
Yeah, most of them are brand new.
Yet already the Jalen Brunson of MLB.
Yeah, that's how fast they grow up these days.
This guy, I'm looking at his picture. He looks like he's 9 years old. Jacob Wilson, fire.
Thank you for that, Bogusch. Well, can we also mention one more thing about our beloved Manny Pucks, Manny Tires, who was at the Yankee game last night, but watching the Knicks on his phone. To me, being a good fan, being a dialed-in fan, that you're somehow multitasking here. I don't care what Chalamet did or Justin Bieber. Manny blazed his own path.
Right. Because Manny's figured out things that Chalamet has not.
Who's doing better in life, Chalamet or Manny? Put it on the poll. No, I just want to also point out that Perloff didn't know that Manny had preemptively called out today because he knew he was going to be late at the Yankee game and all that stuff.
Yeah, for some reason I wasn't there when he told everyone, or I just missed it.
Or like, I don't know. Listen, we know Manny's disdain now for Cinco de Mayo, as someone who actually is Mexican, of Mexican heritage. He's like, guys, this is a made-up holiday. But they actually celebrate Mexican Independence Day in November. But you called Manny this morning and woke him up.
Yeah, I forgot my ID. I have this thing where I take my ID out of my wallet and put it in my back pocket, and sometimes I forget to put it back in my wallet. So I showed up at work today, no ID in my wallet, got stuck in the 10th floor lobby. I text Manny, can you come get me? Because I don't want to make EJ come out, because EJ would have to limp out on his injured knee. And I'm getting no text back. So I'm like, Manny, what's the deal? You're sitting there with your phone. I call him. He's like, dude, what do you want? It was not good. It was not good.
Like, I need some highlights.
So mad. I feel so bad.
I need highlights from that Nuggets OKC
God.
right now.
What do you? I think he thought there was an emergency or something.
He answered it, oh God, what do you want?
Yeah, it was so many words. I'm not in today. I'm like, no, I didn't know you weren't in today. I feel bad now.
This is at 5:45.
Yeah, something right around then. No, I was actually sitting in that lobby for a while waiting for Manny. I'm glad.
You could have called me.
Or me.
Yeah.
We're not friends, I forgot.
Manny's my guy in this situation. He makes the less drama out of it, because you will judge me for forgetting my ID, Bogusch.
Incorrect.
Bring it up like 9 times.
Nope.
And
I would have even told you where to get a temporary ID.
I know. At this point, I know where to do that.
Who told you that?
I think you did.
Yeah, because we're friends. I'm off tomorrow, by the way, so please, well, you wouldn't call me, but just in case. Anybody else
Where
listening?
are you tomorrow?
Tomorrow, my daughter is making, what's the right word? It's my daughter's confirmation tomorrow.
On a Wednesday.
Congratulations.
That's cool.
It's on a Wednesday because you need the bishop, and when the bishop can show up, that's when things happen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, speaking of, has anyone checked on the conclave?
It hasn't started
that starts
yet.
tomorrow, right?
I thought it started yesterday.
I think it's Wednesday.
Yeah, May 7th, I believe is right. Yeah, that's tomorrow.
How long is this going to take, do we think?
A couple weeks, maybe?
To
they
get a new
said?
pope? Weeks?
I-
Is
I
this
th-
like sequestering a jury? Can they leave and stuff?
No, it takes what it takes.
Actually, I kind of made that up. I thought it was a couple weeks. And then we
didn't
see
you
the
just
smoke,
watch
right?
Conclave?
No, I never finished Conclave.
I watch Conclave.
I watched half of Two Popes and half of Conclave. So all in all, I have one Pope movie.
Basically, you're in the running to be the next pope, is what you're saying.
Historically, the longest class conclave, according to AI overview on Google, is nearly 3 years.
What?
Whoa.
At one
That
point,
had
there
to
was-
be like
at
before
one
the
point,
printing
there was
press.
3 years.
Yeah, no, that's when they were like sending notes via Raven.
More recent conclaves have typically lasted only a few days.
Maggie, have you shared that video we had where people were breaking down the conclave like a mock draft?
It was great. I've not shared it.
Yeah.
It's some comedian.
Yeah.
They were doing it like a mock draft and pointing out all this Italian names and
They're
stuff.
like, we got to take this guy. He has 14 years of service, knows 5 languages, and the other guy's wearing a different Pope outfit. It's like, no, my guy from Argentina. And they're drafting like to argue about.
He
Then
goes, he
someone
speaks
says,
Latin. He goes, it's the Vatican. Everybody speaks Latin. Meanwhile, they end up taking Shador Sanders.
Shador Sanders is the Pope.
Is the end of the video.
You had to be there.
Quite clever. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So, no, Manny's fan card remains intact.
I hate Manny.
As far as other people on the show, I'm not so sure. We also have another college football question we're dying to ask you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam, just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. It's the Maggie and Perloff Show. Got a couple questions percolating for you. Number one, who do you have more confidence could pull off a series upset after a couple game one upsets last night and the night before? So it started off with the Pacers upsetting the Cavs, and last night was pretty epic as far as game ones are concerned. The Knicks beating the Celtics in overtime, the Celtics shooting a record 63s, only making 15 of them, and then the Nuggets stole game one from Oklahoma City at the Horn. It was an Aaron Gordon 3. So you can go vote at Maggie and Pearl. Meanwhile, Pearl, if we got into this yesterday, and I will bring you my top 5 appetizers in just a moment, but we got into this the other day off the air, and it was kind of interesting because we started talking about Texas and Arch Manning and what are the expectations for this year. And we got into this question about what is the bigger expectation for Arch? Is it to win a national title, or is it to go number 1 overall in the draft? So, like, you have, obviously, his famous uncles, Peyton and Eli, who both went number 1 in the draft, did not win national titles, didn't win Heismans, considering the lore. Archie was 2nd overall pick, right, back in his day. Also didn't win the Heisman. But, like, take Heisman out of it, even though Arch is the front runner, right?
Well, yeah.
But what's the true expectation? Is it to win a title, or is it just to be, whenever he decides to come out of the draft and come out to go to the NFL, to be the number 1 overall pick?
I think it's by far to be the number 1 pick because there's so many other factors that go into winning the national title. There are so many great quarterbacks who have not won the national title, and it's no indictment on them. I'm looking at the list of number 1 overall. So obviously, Trevor Lawrence did it. But generally, it's more of an exception than a rule. If you go number 1 overall, and I don't hear people talking about Arch has to win a title. I hear Arch as the number 1 pick. It's almost like people are already past Arch's college career and looking at him in the NFL.
Yeah, that's why I think the expectation is actually a national title, because when Peyton and Eli were both in college, and even up until very recently, it was extremely hard to win a national title. I'm not saying it's easy by any stretch now. But with a 12-team playoff, there's certainly a lot more wiggle room, forgiveness. Like, your whole season doesn't come down to 1 or 2 games anymore. And it can, but there is just so much more room for, regular season slip-ups. Look at Ohio State. I mean, we thought they were dead and buried after the embarrassing loss to Michigan and ended up lighting this fire under them that took them all the way to the national championship.
Right.
So.
That's why it's the national championship so haphazard. Like, you can't put that on one play. Like, nobody's going to think, in my opinion, no one's going to think Arch Manning's college career was disappointing. If he wins a Heisman as a number 1 overall pick and loses in the semis, I don't think that will be a thing. I think he'll be a college football Hall of Famer, and we'd move on from there.
Well, you just said if he wins the Heisman and goes number 1 overall. I'm just saying, take the Heisman out of it. Let's just do national champion or number 1 overall pick. What's the expectation for him? Because I'll be honest, I think you're looking at nowadays with college football, it's becoming less of a regular season sport and more of a playoff sport.
Right.
And I think a lot of people hate that about the current state of college football. So with that,
but what does that have to do with Arch?
Because we're setting up college football to be much like the other sports, which is the greatest players are defined by whether you won or not.
But
that didn't used to be the way it was in college. I think it's becoming that way now.
No, I just don't think guys are there long enough. Especially with the transfer portal, you might get 1 year at a school. I don't see it judged that way. I think, first of all, does anyone care, that Caleb Williams didn't win a title? Win a title. That obviously, for example, Caleb Williams at USC, that was not his fault.
Right.
The team around him. And if Arch doesn't win a title, I get the sense it's not going to be his fault either. I mean, it's going to be a team thing. I don't sense that Arch is going to play poorly. Honestly, it's just really hard to win a title, especially now. It's even harder. So I think Arch is just fine. I'm looking at, there are very few number 1 overalls who actually won a title. I mean, obviously Cam Ward didn't even make the playoff this year. Bryce Young didn't win as a starter. You go like Matthew Stafford. Did anybody care if he won the title or not?
Again, different era of college football. It's a
but Peyton people cared big time. That was a huge deal.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying different. The sport is different now, and I think it's set up where because now you have this robust playoff that, by the way, guys, is only going to keep growing. 12 teams, 16. It's just going to get bigger and bigger because the postseason dollars are so big for these television networks.
Right.
They're going to make it all about the postseason. So when you have guys who are not, no offense to EJ's Miami Hurricanes, it's not the Miami Hurricanes of the early 2000s where you have 6 guys going in the first round of the draft. Arch Manning is at Texas where it's, the number 2 ranked team in the country preseason, according to Joel Klatt or whatever. The expectations are huge. The team is deep. They've gotten an Arch bump just by virtue of him being there. It's helped their recruiting. It's not like he's playing with a bunch of stiffs. Not that Cam Ward was, but not that he's playing with a bunch of stiffs. He's expected to win, I think.
Well,
and going number 1 overall, that's a Manning thing. And I don't think that that's necessarily there's a lot of politics with going number 1 overall, team need, who's drafting first. That's more to me an outlier.
So is it just Arch, or is there another player in college football who is going to be judged harshly if he doesn't win a title?
Listen, I think coaches are judged the most, but we've never really had a recruit like Arch before.
Well, I mean, I would argue Trevor Lawrence was close. He was number 1 from 8th grade on. I would say
but Trevor Lawrence's uncles didn't win a combined 4 Super Bowls and be 2 of the most famous quarterbacks
but he's definitely
of our life.
Close. I mean, he was probably rated a little higher than Arch. There've been definitely as big a recruits. I don't know. I just think, would there be another guy who wins the title? I think there's a haphazard feel, especially because guys jump around so much. And what's the most dominant quarterback we've seen in our recent memory is Joe Burrow at LSU, and he came out of absolutely nowhere, and there was no pressure on him because no one even knew his name coming into his senior year.
Yeah, Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
I don't know. I just blanked out his last name. Cam Newton also had a ton of expectation.
Yeah, no, he had no expectation.
Well, but once you saw him at Auburn, it was like, oh my God, this is a totally different human being that's playing college football.
Right, but he's another guy. I don't think anybody knew who he was before that year.
Maybe not. I'm just saying, you have this. Arch is unlike anybody else.
Because of his name, you're just putting that pressure up. I don't know.
Absolutely.
You know what'll happen if Texas loses. Arch ain't taking the blame. That's going to go straight on Sark.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So what is your expectation for Arch Manning? Is it to win a title? And by the way, this could be a 2-year looks like it's going to be a 2-year thing, not a 1-year thing, according to everybody, that Arch is not going to come out to the NFL draft after this season. So is the expectation to win a title, or is the expectation to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft?
Yeah, again, and they're not going to be the number 1. They're probably not going to be the AP number 1 team going in. Maybe. I see them as 2 on almost every ranking. So I understand there is some pressure, but there's no way you're going to judge it being what a bust he didn't win a title. That is not going to be in our lexicon.
EJ, want to throw that up on the poll while I quickly get to George in LA. George, only got a couple seconds, but who do you think has the better chance to pull off a series upset? The Nuggets, the Knicks, or the Pacers?
Definitely the Nuggets, you guys. Good morning. Because of the fact that they're experiencing Jokic factor, you never know when he's going to show up, when he's not. But in general, I'd say the Nuggets, even without their coach, they seem to be playing well. That was a big, big upset. But thank you.
Yeah, George, thank you. Man, just to snatch it away like that, it was really just pulling the rug out. I mean, final seconds, Aaron Gordon 3. And I think, Coach Mark Dagnall, he's saying, yeah, we do intentionally foul up 3. I get that, Coach, but Jokic was on the bench and you let 2 seconds go off the clock. You could have let 4, 5, 6 seconds bleed off and had Jokic there, on the sidelines.
Yeah, I just wonder about the size. How did the Thunder come back on this? What do they do? Just hope that he gets tired and stops scoring 42 points a game?
I don't know if that's a strategy. 888-710-4ISN.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Believe Bilatti's got something to say. Infinity's mice. He's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC. What a shame. Just JJ Redick's wine ain't the same. Peter Bellotti is getting upset. Maggie Perloff, can you hear his plea? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Set his spirit free. He misses Mar. Co-stars and the crew, those were the days. Pete cries out boo, boo. Bring it back, or can't you see? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Let it be. Pete's mad, he's feeling sad. Bring it back, oh make it right. Bogusch weeps. He's got the road trip blues. Left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio. Can't believe his eyes. for Bogusch stuck at home. His heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembanyama, Perloff took the fall. But it's Bogusch left behind, feeling 10 feet tall. A loser in his own right, can't catch a break. Road trip dreams shattered, for goodness sake. For goodness sake. Bogusch.
.45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, if the cliche is right that a series doesn't get started until an opponent wins on the other's home floor, we got 3 NBA series
Amazing.
that are well underway. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. All 3 underdogs that have played so far have won game 1. It was the Knicks over the Celtics last night in overtime. The Nuggets improbably stole a game from Oklahoma City in the final closing seconds, Perloff. And then, obviously, 2 days ago, we had the Pacers take game 1 from the Cleveland Cavaliers. So you're up next, Warriors.
Yeah.
But who actually has a chance to pull off a series upset is what we're asking today.
Okay. Are we including the Pacers? Because
Sure.
I would rank Pacers 1, Nuggets 2, Knicks 3. Pacers because I'm really worried about Cleveland's health after what happened in game 1. And us, obviously, Darius Garland, who knows what we're going to get out of that. So Pacers 1. Denver, I think, has some strategic advantages. I don't know if they're going to last. They how deep does Denver's rotation go? 6, maybe 7?
Yep.
So I worry about that a little bit. And then the Knicks, I'm not counting them out either, but I think honestly, they might have the least chance because their matchup with Boston is still a little difficult. They were trailing by 20. This is going to be a battle. All 3 are going to be incredible series, but that's how my ranking. How would you rank the 3 chances?
I would rank Nuggets 1 because I'm going with best player maybe in the league. I know Shea is going to be the MVP, but Jokic was unbelievable. I mean, it's Aaron Gordon who's getting all the attention, really, because of he hit the game-winning 3. But if you were watching that game, that fourth quarter was the Jokic masterclass. It's cliche to say it at this point.
How does he do it? He had no separation on the decisive 3-pointer and just drained it.
Well, my thing, I love it. Well, he's still this narrative that somehow Jokic doesn't care. It's like, guys, he cares. He's allowed to have a hobby of horse racing. Like, he's obviously super dialed in to basketball. The guy's a killer. I would go Nuggets 1. I think Pacers 2. And I'm sorry, EJ, I hate to do this. I think it's Knicks 3. And here's the reason. The Celtics last night were 15 of 60 from 3-point range. And EJ, if you missed it earlier in the show, gave an excellent breakdown of everything that the Knicks were doing defensively to make life hard, specifically on Jason Tatum, who was 0 for 7 in the fourth quarter, including 0 for 5 from 3, and he scored 4 points between the fourth quarter and overtime. It was not good for Jason Tatum, a guy of his level.
I don't agree with EJ on that. I think that was on Tatum.
Okay, well, either way, I think that Tibbs clearly made the adjustment of what the Knicks were not able to do in the regular season against the Celtics. But here's my question. are they making another adjustment? Joe Mazzulla is clearly going to counter, right? This is a championship pedigree team.
Yeah.
What's the counter to the counter, number one? And number two, I worry about Knicks running out of gas. But here's the thing, saving grace for EJ, Celtics are also very injured. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis missed the end of this game because he has an illness, which is probably had to be pretty heinous for him to miss that. You have Drew Holiday's definitely dealing with something. Tatum's definitely dealing with something. And Brown's definitely dealing with something. So maybe there's a window. The good thing for the Knicks is that when you do have Tatum and Brown not shooting well, to win that game is as good as it can get. I mean, that's the one, and I know it took overtime, but that's the one you got to get.
And to win a game where Karl-Anthony Towns was a disaster. He was terrible. I mean, terrible in the second half. He almost cost him the game. Basically started the second half and said, I'm going to just shoot and dribble through 5 guys 10 times in a row. And the game got out of hand. Luckily, the Knicks were able to get him off the court and fix what was going on. So the Knicks had a really bad Karl-Anthony Towns games. I think there's a chance that that's not going to happen as much during the course of the season. And again, I know we could go back and forth about the strategy. I just think even if those shots and Tatum plays well, the Knicks have a better chance to win the series playing that way. That's the point. It's not that there's a silver bullet to beat this team. This team is a juggernaut. But you cannot beat them saying that we're going to be okay chasing around three-pointers, that our guys are wide open. You're going to get killed doing that.
Yep. Yeah.
At least the Knicks were able to at least be in the area code of these shots, which I think, Tatum can make, but he wasn't making them last night. And he said himself, he let them off the hook by taking so many contested threes.
I have a coaching strategy adjustment. It's 2 words. Man up, dude. Stop settling because I think he was tired, too. And that's why he didn't want to create anything. Also, by the way,
the Knicks should have been tired, not the Celtics.
But that's the thing about the Knicks, though, and then it goes back and forth with the minutes thing because Tom Thibodeau and people who defend him will say, well, the Knicks are prepared for these moments and to play those big minutes when they have to because they play these kind of minutes. You get yourself in the right conditioning to do what the Knicks are trying to do. So it goes back and forth. The Knicks are not the team that...
I can't fault the Celtics, though, if they felt like resting was good for them considering their guys are injured.
Yeah, and those guys played in the Olympics too, so they've logged a lot of minutes. But
it was a 5-game series against Orlando. Like they took care of them quickly.
No question. But I mean, there's one team that's dealing with injuries, and there's one team that's kind of not.
Yeah, it's true.
Like besides
although Brunson's always
his ankle can go any minute. It seems like, but everyone else in the Knicks is healthy and they look strong. Finishing that game.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the strategic issue too is obviously it's the same thing in every single series. How do I not get my center stuck on Brunson? And Drew Holiday, I know he's hurt. He's got to man up too. Like you cannot. You have to. I know Josh Hart and all those guys move like crazy on the screens. You have to fight through the screens against Brunson. Otherwise, you're dead. I mean, the second Al Horford's on Jalen Brunson, they should just award the Knicks the points and run down to the other side. Just why are we wasting our time? It's just so embarrassing. And honestly, I played Mazzulla too. I thought the Celtics looked undisciplined, tired, and disinterested in the end.
To be fair, though, in overtime, there were moments where the Knicks got casual, but Bridges was so good in the overtime, hit a big 3, had 2 big steals and a block.
The Celtics looked so lifeless in the overtime. Oh my God, they weren't even trying to create good shots.
I think
don't know
everyone
what
was
happened.
gassed in the overtime.
Yeah, I mean,
frankly.
Holiday's coming off an injury too, and he did not seem to have his normal legs. If you get into endurance, I mean, are the Knicks going to have the advantage? Because I hate to say this because I criticize Tibbs for playing his guys too many minutes, but maybe they're used to this.
I also think that he may have to put Derek White on Brunson, at least for the majority of the game. Like Holiday's coming off of this strained hamstring that he's probably coming back early from, and he has Holiday chasing him around for 50 minutes.
Yeah, so he wore down.
Yeah, like he might need to let White, who's also a very good defender, he's not Holiday, but he's a very good defender, let him guard Brunson at least for some of the game, and then maybe let Holiday kind of be his defensive closer to combat Brunson's closing ability for the Knicks.
Yes, let's just also say Perloff was telling an NBA player to man up when you have pinky issues that keep you from Saturday morning games.
He's going after Porzingis. He's going after Holiday. Is anybody on the OKC Thunder he's going after yet?
Just wait.
What's going on with Hauser too? By the way,
he's awful. Well, he got hurt.
Is he hurt? But he's a huge factor for that game.
He's out of the rotation. Like he only played essentially because Porzingis got hurt. And no, he came in because Porzingis got hurt, and then he got hurt immediately after he airballed a 3 and then fouled OG shooting 3. I know Cap's probably in the chat going crazy. Celtics fans have gone crazy because he's been terrible for them in the playoffs. He basically has become unplayable.
Yeah, I know Kaplan was not happy earlier in the show. You can watch the show, by the way, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. If I haven't mentioned it already, we are on a new channel on SiriusXM 375. Go find us there. If you listen to us on satellite, free Odyssey app is a great way to find the show as well. We got a podcast. We got everything. He was not happy that you were saying that Porzingis would not be a big factor for the Celtics either way when Porzingis did have a good finals against the Mavs. Last year.
But he came back. He didn't play the whole final.
It's only one game.
Yeah.
He played one game, right?
Yeah, one game.
Yeah.
He was great in that game, but it was one game.
Yeah, when the Mavs were already dead in the water.
I'm just saying.
He said, that's
Cap
a great
was not happy with you about that.
That's a great finals.
Well, he had been hurt. I mean, even to give him anything.
Yeah,
let you know where
up,
you stand with everybody in the
chat. He shows
chat.
up when the series is over. Come on,
Listen,
Cap.
there's one person on this show that I don't want to take off. It's definitely Kaplan because his Photoshop skills are so deadly. Like, he could create a meme that would just end your life.
No. You don't mess with Cap.
No, you definitely don't.
Yeah, he made a meme of me and Pat Boyle that just is insane. I just want to erase it strike it from the record.
I mean, that could be anything.
It was bad.
Right now on X, we're asking, who do you think has the better chance to pull off the series upset? Right now, the Nuggets winning this poll, but you can go and vote. We also, not to just completely switch gears here, but there's been some very fun college football conversations that have been going on, and we're always here for them. We talked before that Joel Klatt, obviously, famous broadcaster and quarterback in his own right, had a post-spring portal top 25 that caught our eye because Penn State was number 1.
Yeah.
And LSU, Georgia, and Alabama were 7, 8, 9, which is just not what we're used to seeing, especially with Georgia and Alabama lately. If I just put this question to you, Pearl, which college coach has the most pressure to win this year?
Oh, I would go with the guy we're talking about with Penn State, James Franklin. Like, if not now, when? If you're a Penn State fan, if they can't win this year with Ohio State maybe a little down, Michigan down, and being number 1 in Joel Klatt's preseason poll, and your quarterback came back, then when are you going to win? Who are you going to get there? I know they've had big recruits through the years, but they really can't recruit with Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia on a consistent basis. So they feel like they really have to take advantage of this opportunity. And when they lose, all the blame goes to James Franklin, and people point out his record against top 10 teams and all those stats. I know they got through a little bit of a hump last year in the playoffs, but I still think there's a lot of work to be done to sort of prove that he can be a big game winner, and I don't see it yet.
Listen, but James Franklin is what we thought he is. I mean, not to steal the famous line, with his abominable record against teams who are ranked in the top 5 and top 10, it's never been there. And I understand you're saying, yes, this year more than any, and made it all the way to the semifinals of the college football playoff. But people thought they had an, air quotes, easy road. Right?
I mean, didn't they?
Well, they got to play SMU at home in a freezing cold day in Happy Valley, and then they got to play Boise State until they ran into Notre Dame. I guess this is what I've always thought about James Franklin. I still think that despite all the kvetching, if you will, from the fan base about not being able to beat top teams and not being able to win, I still think that they like him there.
Yeah, I mean, they like him, but...
Right, so I don't think he's on the hot seat. If you're asking me, a coach who's feeling all the pressure in the world to win, not just because of the standard that's been set, but also because potential hot seat ramifications, I hate to say it, but it's Kalen DeBoer. You hate to do this because the guy who comes after the guy is always in a terrible spot, right? It's very rare you get a smooth baton handoff from a legend, whether it's coach or a player. DeBoer doesn't really have any ties to the Alabama program before he got this job. I don't say it was an outside-the-box hire, but because he had just been in the national championship game with Washington, clearly he's a phenomenal coach.
Right.
But there's not he played at Alabama. He coached alongside Saban. There's not that other connective tissue that makes me think I'm not saying say expendable, just throw him away, but I just don't think there's not an attachment yet to him. So a bad season this year, bad by Alabama standards, not making the college football playoff, I think DeBoer's in some real trouble. And the next person who could take over no longer is the guy after the guy, right? You've had a little bit of a buffer.
I'm surprised to say that. You think that it's possible he only gets 2 years in Alabama? I would think they'd give him 5 years to build it his way. Because he doesn't even have his quarterback yet.
Well, then I think people would say, why don't you? Things
That's
move
2
really
years.
fast
It's 1
here.
year.
Yeah, but things move fast. Like with the transfer portal and his good record of coaching, really good quarterbacks, what he did with Michael Penix, I think that people would start to point the finger at him and say, well, why don't you have a great, you have the money.
I mean, there are a lot of coaches who are going to get fired off the bat next year. There's guys like Mike Norvell and the guy at Florida State is obviously in huge trouble.
Sure.
Kalen DeBoer has time.
Billy Napier, we think, may be in trouble. I don't know if Lincoln Riley's in any trouble. Yeah,
right.
Listen, we can have a Brian Kelly conversation if you want to have that.
You got to give DeBoer more than 2 years, especially because the expectations aren't that high for Alabama this year. They're probably going to be the lowest preseason ranking they've had since Saban got there. I just be surprised if people were coming after Alabama this quickly.
I just don't think you can tell an Alabama fan not to have high expectations. I think they thought this year was a year where it's like, all right, what was their final record? They went 9-4.
They had Milroe coming back, and they had a lot of future pros. I don't even think they have that in this year.
I don't think the Alabama fan and faithful is ready to say, okay, we'll just let him have this, grace period. 5 years. I think that the Alabama fan is worried. They remember what it was like pre-Saban. It's a storied franchise that's very proud, and they don't want to fall into just the rest of the pack. They think that they are exceptional, and they don't want anything that's going to go otherwise. And I do believe that the pool of candidates, while always big at Alabama, might even be different this time around, because I do think there were probably guys who didn't want to come after Saban, like be the guy after Saban.
Oh, I see. That's a really good point.
Like Dabo.
Yeah, I just think Kalen DeBoer seems like a very particular kind of coach who would need time to build the program his way. The way Washington played was so different than the way Alabama traditionally played. Feels like you got to give him time to make a transition there, because he's very different from Saban. Also, Alabama, they couldn't run the ball at all last year. They're not Alabama anymore, are they? I mean, They used to be
incumbent on him.
They used to go 5 deep with 5 stars, and now that's just never going to happen again in the new era. So I think Alabama fans, you're right, they probably won't be, but should be realistic about their expectations here.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. If we just threw out this question to you, which college coach is facing the most pressure this year, who would your answer be? What's your gut reaction? I mean, I thought it could have been Steve Sarkisian from Texas, but there's so much now about Arch Manning being potentially a 2-year starter that I don't think this year, I don't think he's going anywhere, but I think the idea that Arch, you have another year like in the back pocket sort of.
Well, wait, were you talking about Sark pressure to win the whole thing or pressure because he could be fired? Because I don't think they would fire him.
No, pressure to win the whole thing. I mean, he's gotten pretty close now for the last 2 years.
Yeah, he's taken a program that hadn't done much since Vince Young and gotten to the Final Four 2 years in a row.
Yep.
I don't think he's in trouble. See, like Lincoln Riley, that's trouble. I was looking at a list. Sam Pittman, I thought he got fired 3 times. I can't believe he's still there.
I know.
There
Our friends in Arkansas
and Brent
always say.
Venables, that's trouble. I mean, that's a real issue right there, because that has not worked. There's just a lot of programs that I think are lower, like Sark, for example, and Kellen DeBoer. I think they get a lot more time. Maybe I'm being completely naive, but if you're not Alabama anymore, Maggie. I'm sorry, it's not the same.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So asking you, if I just asked you, which college coach is under the most pressure to win this year, whether it's for to win a title and make good on expectations, or just literally their own job. Who do you have? It's the Maggie and Perloff Show. Coming up next, one trade we thought we were going to still see in the NFL looks like it is completely cooled. But are the teams making a mistake? I'll tell you about that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly celebrating all who go above and beyond during Military Appreciation Month. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/celebrate. Our members are the mission. Okay, Maggie and I were just breaking this down before the break. Defensive Player of the Week, EJ, it's too obvious for you to go with a Nick.
No, don't overthink it. He's all into Bridges last night, had the 2 steals, the block, and overtime.
No. I'm going to give EJ more credit than that.
I
think he's going way off the board. I think he's going to shock us with his pick here. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of defense in the Thunder Nuggets game. I'm having trouble
I was
picking
going to say, what do you want to do? Like the defense, the fever we're playing on the Brazilian women's national team?
That was pretty impressive.
He's going to pick Bridges. Just let him have his
He can't
moment.
pick Bridges. He's an objective journalist, Maggie. There's no way he's picking Mikal Bridges. Who is it, EJ?
Well, an objective journalist would realize that the defensive player this week is Mikal Bridges, who made the play of the game, sealing the Knicks' victory, ripping the ball from Jaylen Brown as time expired.
It's off to Brown. Bridges there. They hold it. They drop it. It's over. The Knicks have won. What a comeback and a Game 1 win for New York.
Mikal Bridges was all over the place. 2 steals in overtime, a big block as well. I know people talk about 5 picks. Well, how about them picks last night?
And a pick swap.
Nobody's talking about the picks or the pick swap last night because of what Mikal Bridges did. So Mikal Bridges is your Navy Federal defensive player.
Knicks win Game 1 over the Celtics.
If you're okay with that now, then you can't complain later this summer when Giannis goes to Houston because the Knicks couldn't quite get enough in their package together for him to get the superstar because it all went to Mikal Bridges. If they don't win it all.
And that's the reality that the Knicks have. That's the reality we're living in. So
they made a choice. So now you're good with the Bridges trade just because they pulled off a big Game 1 win.
Bridges continues to play that way defensively, then yes, he's got to continue to do it. But he showed last night why the Knicks made that push.
He scored 8 points in 51 minutes.
He had the biggest 3 of the game and 2 of the biggest stops in the game. None of that other stuff matters today.
He also played how many minutes?
51 minutes.
That's nuts.
I just said that.
Sorry. I wasn't paying attention to you. I was listening to DJ.
51 minutes. Iron Man. He's a guy who never misses games. You want to talk about people load managing? That guy is anti-load management. So Bridges should deserve some love today.
There you go. He is the Defensive Player of the Week, sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union. Okay, there's a couple NFL stories I want to get to. One, we did not get to yesterday, and it was, you guys remember a long time ago, like 2 weeks ago, when Jerry Jones said that there was like a big trade potentially.
Two substantive. The word was substantive.
They were having substantive trade talks. Yes, thank you for that. Well, whatever happened to that? It looks like it could have been George Pickens was really going to be the target, Pearl, and now that has cooled off to the point of the insiders just don't think it's going to happen. Now, I ask you, from the Cowboys side and from the Pittsburgh Steelers side, who do you think is making a bigger mistake? Is either making a mistake for not trying to push this trade through to the finish line? Hard to say really for the Steelers. We don't know what the compensation would be, but nothing that's going to maybe help them this year, unless I guess they're getting a player back.
Yeah,
but
I don't like Pickens on the Steelers. I mean, I'm not an X and O genius or anything, but I imagine he runs the same exact routes as DK Metcalf. So you have 2 guys who just like run. They definitely need a compliment. I don't know if they would have taken a Mekik-Buka if he fell to them, but they need somebody really, really good in the slot. And I don't see how those guys complement each other. And honestly, same story with Dallas. What's the big difference between him and CeeDee Lamb? That's not who they need. An underperforming wide receiver who'll disappear in big games. That's what Dallas needs. No, I didn't love Pickens for either side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Wait,
think
which way did you go?
Well, I think this is more of a mistake for Dallas because, you have Dak Prescott, you have Micah Parsons, you have these guys who you think are these big leaders, and this locker room that's now been rearranged by Brian Schottenheimer to put lockers next to each other. And I think that George Pickens, or anyone, but especially Pickens, would be a huge help to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it was shocking, stunning that they did not, the Dallas I'm talking about, really solve or try to at least solve their who is your second best receiver on the team question in this draft.
But they need like a Stephon Diggs. They need a baller, a guy who's going to get you that really, really tough first down.
Well,
Pickens has never had more than 60 catches in a season. I mean,
and some of it's his own fault, right? Because he's a head case at times and takes himself out. I think a motivated guy still looking for his first big contract.
But he's great at one route. I mean, he does one thing. He wins 50-50 balls. I honestly think the Cowboys need a real consistent slot guy. They need somebody who can move the chains. It can't just be CD. So I'm not sure Pickens would help them that much. They kind of thought they were getting that kind of player with Jonathan Mingo last year. Just being big and strong and fast is not what they need. They need a guy who is going to really show up consistently for them and help move the ball. Because right now everybody covers CD, right? I don't know. Do you think, and also personality-wise, is Pickens fit the Cowboys?
Well, that's the thing. I think you already have some strong personalities in the Dallas Cowboys locker room. There are clear leaders there, whether you like them or not.
No.
Dak Prescott,
No.
Micah Parsons, and then you got Jerry. See, nobody is greater and a bigger, louder voice still than Jones, even as he's approaching 90 or 85, however old he is. There's nobody bigger than him.
Wait, when they're losing by 14 in the second quarter and you need a leader to step up, it ain't gonna be Jerry Jones. And that's the thing. That's like you don't have a leader.
Well, who's it been for the Steelers? I mean, that's a great organization that we think is run very, very well. Mike Tomlin is going to the Hall of Fame. Everyone wants to play for him. You think he has a lifetime contract with Steelers.
Yeah.
By the way, that was not me who said it. That was Perloff who said that, even though it got aggregated to me. I get it, but I think that
I think they've had a leadership void in Pittsburgh too.
Right. So I think there's more leadership, quite frankly, with the Dallas Cowboys than with the Steelers.
Think of the Packers loss in the playoffs. Who was the leader then?
That was such a failure. We all thought Mike McCarthy was getting fired then.
No, both teams have a leadership void. So that's exactly what I'm saying. George Pickens is not the player to add. I'm thinking, remember when Stephon Diggs came to Buffalo and just helped Josh Allen so much? Remember when A.J. Brown came to Philadelphia and helped Jalen Hurts so much? I don't think Pickens would be that for Dallas. I just don't think he's cut out like that.
The other side is we're still waiting to see if Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if to just give Rodgers Metcalf and then, I don't know. I think that the Dallas Cowboys need him more, put it that way. But if you do have Aaron Rodgers coming, then I think you have to make sure you have some weapons there.
Yeah, but aren't Rodgers guys still floating around there? Where's Lazard? Where's MVS?
Devontae Adams is in LA with the
MVS
Lazard's
is
still a Jet.
What's that?
Lazard's still a Jet.
Yeah, he's still a Jet for
I'm
now.
sure they're all thrilled about that.
He'll get cut, right?
I don't know. Sounds like they might want to keep him.
Meanwhile, I will get to my top 5 appetizers of all time. But Bogusch is here with an update. And by the way,
you sound disappointed. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you can weigh in. Who would need George Pickens more, the Steelers in 2025 or the Cowboys in 2025? Because it looks like that trade has now been backburnered. Was there another trade that I missed?
Oh, there are a lot of draft trades that didn't happen.
Yeah.
We never talked about the Giants. The big story yesterday, Albert Breer, they love Jackson Dart. They love Jackson Dart. Meanwhile, they tried to trade their entire franchise to get up number 1 for Cam Ward.
Yes.
So I don't know how much you actually love Jackson Dart. The Eagles apparently were trying desperately to trade up all night to get Jihad Campbell, and they got him at 31. There's all sorts of trades.
The veterans didn't get traded like I thought. I thought Pickens could get traded during the draft. I thought Kirk Cousins could get traded during the draft. And I thought Trey Hendrickson could get traded during the draft, and none of them did.
And no Jalen Ramsey either.
And Ramsey did not either.
Yeah, but this Trey Hendrickson thing, like, we're not going to fall prey to this. He's going. Honestly, I'm over this. Guys who want to trade, who really want more money. The second Myles Garrett went back to Cleveland, I decided I'm approaching this whole offseason differently. Any trade request is just more. They want more money, right? That's all this ever is.
I thought the Bengals might actually be the ones to be like, well, we're really not paying you because we just paid Jamar Chase and we paid T. Higgins and we paid Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Can I go back to your Giants, Jackson Dart logic for just a second? Because I spent a good chunk of my life with all of my draft capital on the table for Jennifer Aniston, and she never bit.
Yeah.
So I married my wife, and she's amazing.
But it made it seem like
doesn't mean I loved her less, but I did make a play for Aniston.
There was this story out. It felt like a love letter to Jackson Dart in a way. Like, oh my God, he does everything right.
You should see my Facebook post from last week when it was our anniversary. It was very sappy.
To your
wife.
wife.
She would have lost if Aniston said yes in 2000. I was out.
Lucky you that your wife fell to you.
So your wife is a Jackson Dart.
I guess, did you trade up to get her? No, you would have traded up for Aniston.
Was there a Shador in the picture?
No.
Who's Shador is that's like a wild card, right? That's like the diva who's very high maintenance.
I also think it's kind of like a throuple because you got Dylan Gabriel there. I don't know. I don't know what Shador is a metaphor for in dating.
Yeah. I don't know if your wife was listening to that. It
She's
felt-
not. Again, this
felt
is
a little
safe
bit
space.
like felt a little
Basically
insulting.
called your
there.
wife a second round pick.
Hope she's out on Twitter because 3 things you learned in Maggie and Perloff today.
But to be honest, it's Mother's Day coming up in a couple days. You may have to double your budget.
My wife is well aware of my affection for Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't know if that would be that much fun to be married to Jennifer Aniston, Bogusch.
Yeah, I don't know. And I would have lost in the flip side. If you and McGregor had answered questions differently, I would have lost out to him. But that's my wife's favorite.
That's like me with Channing Tatum. Same thing.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Andrea would have just threw me into the vat of whatever.
That would have been your original knee injury.
She would have threw me into a volcano for Channing Tatum.
I'd be fine losing my girl to Channing Tatum. I'm like, that's cool. That's actually a badge of honor. Like, Channing Tatum likes the same woman that I like. That'd be an amazing fact. I'd brag to everybody.
Flex.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, lost my girl to Channing Tatum. High five.
Rob's like, yeah, I got the girls every other weekend. It's like, what happened with you and Sarah? It's like,
She's with Channing Tatum. Can you believe it? If, God forbid, we ever separated, I would be thrilled if she married Channing Tatum. It would up
You'd be
my
like, I
Q-
never had a shot.
No, it would up my Q rating like a million times. Like, oh, this kind of person is married to the same woman that Channing Tatum is married to? What?
Yeah, I agree.
Suddenly you're making your wife sound like a disappointment because Channing Tatum's not at the door. We know Sarah's the best. Yeah, my husband and I don't have that, what you guys all seem to have here. Like
must be
names
nice.
A
picked
list?
out.
You guys don't have a list?
Yeah, no. No, we don't. We've never talked about this. I don't know who my husband thinks is beautiful in Hollywood.
So he's very disciplined.
My wife
Shout
had
out
a
to Andy.
Yeah, my wife had a thing for Daniel Craig, which I always found interesting.
He's James Bond. That's not that crazy.
No, I know. It's not crazy at all. I didn't mind that at all. But yeah. See, the funny thing is, this is going to sound really weird, but I often note handsome men way before my wife does. I'm like, oh, this person on TV is so good looking. And my wife doesn't usually go there.
I think that's like maybe a maturation thing for us because I have the same thought. I'm like, that guy is just like Glenn Powell. I don't understand, like, not in a way that I don't want to date Glenn Powell, but I'm amazed by how handsome he is.
Yeah, of course.
The fact that you had to put the caveat out.
Yeah, like Michael B. Jordan is just, I mean, come on. Like,
Right.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Dude, eat a carb, Michael B. Jordan, for the rest of us.
I mean, he's playing 2 guys in this latest movie.
You know what's coming up on us now, guys? This guy, shout out to Bridgerton. This guy, Jonathan Bailey. Look out.
The guy in Bridgerton?
Yeah. Andrea, her friend Shakira, that's all they can talk about now.
Right. But I don't feel threatened by those men because they're so ridiculous. Like, as though, like...
Yeah. But, like, I want to spend a weekend as them.
Yeah. No, I do think, Maggie, men do appreciate, like, really cool, good-looking guys on film. Like, we all love Paul Newman and Robert Redford and Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Sure.
Like, men like to watch those movies. I don't know what the...
Yeah,
they're
and
cool.
listen, I'm not like covering for my husband or anything like that. I'd tell you if he was making these remarks. He's not. It's just weird.
Does he know about Henrik Lundqvist?
Maybe now.
Yeah. Wait, do you have a celebrity crush? Henrik Lundqvist.
No,
sorry.
I mean, but that's a little close to home, guys. I've actually interviewed him before and kept it professional, by the way. No, Clooney and Pitt. I mean, they're like, it's like the Paul Newman, Robert Redford type of thing. I also really like the guy from Easy Rider, Peter Fonda, was a real fox back in his day.
You know, my 14-year-old daughter pretends that Channing Tatum is actually her boyfriend. She calls him her boyfriend. She has a lot of opinions on who's good looking. And she says Brad Pitt is ageless, but Clooney looks like he's 100 and not interested.
I felt like half of the male population acted like they were shot last night because they heard that Rihanna was pregnant again.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear that.
No, I think Rihanna. I mean, how many kids do you have?
I know,
2.
but people feel like they still got a shot.
Yeah, I feel like
they want to be the dad that stepped up. Not the stepdad, the dad that stepped up.
Who thinks they have a shot with Rihanna?
A lot of delusional men on X.
Oh boy, fellas.
Which is 100%
Did you
of
just
the
raise your
population
hand?
on X.
I'm joking.
But now the third kid with the same guy is probably the death knell? Okay.
This is the one where like, you know what?
This is real.
Getting tough.
She likes him.
I guess she'll stay with him.
Rihanna, though, honestly, though, she's almost too intimidating. I think, like, she is too cool and too gangster.
It's like Britney with an I times a million.
Yeah. No,
Rihanna's too much to handle for a regular person.
You ever heard the story of, like, her with the strippers?
No.
There was a story where she got a bunch of Hollywood stars after they were partying out in some New York club. She brought the strippers back to her, like, loft.
Yeah.
And, like, she's, like, smoking marijuana and there's strippers all over the place. And she's just like a boss. Like, whoever was there, I forgot who was telling the story, was like, this woman looked like she was the kingpin. Like, it was like, Like, Rihanna is not someone to mess with. Like, she is that chick.
Yeah. She's one of one.
And we're never getting an album from her.
Why? She's got so many hits.
I know, but
She'll
music's
come
so
back.
good. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it. She keeps having kids.
Well, I mean, you can juggle. That's tough. 888-710-4ISN. Was there an update in here somewhere? Did we even get to it?
We didn't.
How about this? Pause. We've got top 5 appetizers. We've got Bogusch's update. I don't want to shortchange you because all the sound is really good from last night and everything. Okay. Get back to sports in a moment.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff Show. We'll get to Bogusch's update in just one moment, but we're asking you about George Pickens, the trade that never went through. Supposedly, it was the Dallas Cowboys that were targeting Pickens. I think the Cowboys made a mistake not going through with that trade. We don't know what the compensation would have been, but they need an extra receiver. Adrian in Maryland says it would have been a terrible idea. What's up, Adrian?
Come on, Mag. You know this is a terrible idea. Pickens to the Cowboys, that would make a bigger platform for him. Bad enough he's on Pittsburgh in Western Pennsylvania, and he still gets headlines. You had Antonio Brown. You had what's his name? What's the guy that went to Carolina, then he went to Miami?
Deontay Johnson? Or no?
No. Him, and also Claypool.
Yeah.
Chase Claypool.
So the league is going to find out what's going on in Pittsburgh with these receivers and how they're so much divas. So they're going to stop trading for them. I don't care how much talent they have.
Adrian, you're talking about a franchise in the Dallas Cowboys that brought in T.O. They had Terrell Owens. They know what this is like.
How many years ago was that?
I'm saying that they've gotten the best out of guys. Now, T.O.'s a Hall of Famer. Obviously George Pickens is not. But it's okay. Just because somebody may have be perceived as a head case doesn't mean they're not going to be productive.
No, I'm totally with Adrian. Pittsburgh gets draft value by drafting low character receivers. It's part of their DNA, and then they never work out on the second team. Like everyone knew the deal with Antonio Brown, so they picked him up in the fifth, and of course he burned out on the other teams. Pickens would burn out just like him. Why do you think Pickens went in the second round? If you watch him play, he's a first-round player if there ever was one. But he clearly has a bad attitude.
So who's going to be catching passes for the Dallas Cowboys outside of CeeDee Lamb and I don't know?
It's going to be Tolbert. He came on at the end last year, and they're trying. They gave Carolina a fourth rounder for Mingo. So they got to try to make him work. They got to find out what he has in him. And it's Schottenheimer. They're going to run the ball and they're going to play defense. You've seen that through the draft. They drafted defensive guys. They drafted offensive linemen. They got like 4 running backs now. So we're going to see. They're going to run the ball and they're going to play defense just like the Eagles. And they just going to try to match that and change the league. It's not going to be all about throwing the ball all around the park.
Yeah, Adrian, I hear what you're saying, but I think the Eagles have 2 really great receivers that they're paying a lot of money to that are a huge part of the game plan in Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, actually, Adrian just sent a shiver down my spine remembering some old Brian Schottenheimer offenses. First down, run 3 yards. Second down, run 1 yard. 3rd and 6, sack the quarterback. That's Brian Schottenheimer's. That's his typical series. But he's probably
it's
right.
okay.
He's probably dead right.
He's got Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott's lockers next to each other, so all's going to be awesome.
Shotty is the most boring OC except for Arthur Smith, the 2 of them. That's why it's funny. Like Pickens is going from one bad situation to another in this scenario.
Yeah, but right now it looks like that trade is not happening. Let's get to Bogusch, who's got headlines. It was a lot of fun stuff that happened last night.
For a guy that apparently doesn't care, Nikola Jokic tried really hard to get the Nuggets a win in Game 1 in OKC last night. Cameras caught Jokic animatedly coaching up his teammates during a timeout. He also posted a pretty historic stat line.
10 on the shot clock. Joker for 3. Yes! Denver's made it a 1-point game, 115 to 114. 1 minute to go.
That's Jason Kosmiski on Nuggets Radio. That was Denver's second most important shot of the night. Aaron Gordon hit the actual game-winning 3 with 2.8 seconds to go. They closed on a 19-6 run to stun the Thunder, 121-119. OKC led by as many as 14. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists in defeat.
It's not always going to go the way you want it, but there's analytics and there's a way we want to end the game, and I think we did it as we planned. It just didn't go our way. Nothing's ever going to always go your way, and that's what happened tonight.
SGA referencing the Thunder fouling twice late to keep Denver from trying a tying three. It was working until Chet Holmgren missed 2 free throws right before Gordon's winner. That line by Jokic, by the way, 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 6 assists. The second 40-25 game, I believe, in postseason history. The Thunder, so they only blew a 14-point lead. The Celtics had a 20-point edge on the Knicks in the third quarter, but plummeted into a 108-105 OT loss in their opener in Boston. Jaylen Brown wondering what happened.
I'm not sure. I think we're going to take a look at the film tomorrow and see what kind of happened there.
That seems like a good idea. Brown and Tatum each scored 23, combining to go 5 for 25 from 3. The Celtics were 15 of 60 from deep, the 45 misses, a single-game postseason record. There was one other upset last night. The Islanders went from 10th to 1st in the NHL draft lottery. They had only a 3% shot at the top pick, but they get it for the third time in team history. As for the playoffs, it looked like it might be easy for the Maple Leafs.
Pacioretty gets it back to the blue line. Nylander working in on the right side. Scores! Holy mackerel, the first shot on goal. And the Maple Leafs are up 1-0.
Joe Bowen on Leafs radio. William Nylander scoring just 33 seconds into Game 1 of Round 2. Toronto eventually led the Panthers 4-1, but only won 5-4, and they lost starting goalie Anthony Stolarz to a likely concussion, courtesy of an elbow from Florida forward Sam Bennett. And this is what happened at the Yankee game that Manny attended instead of giving all his attention to his Knicks.
2 on and 2 out for Bogarts. Tying run 90 feet away. Xander swings, lines one into left field. That's down in front of Bellinger. Arise has scored. Machado's on his way. The throw to the plate is up the line. A 2-run single for Xander. And the Padres lead it for the first time tonight.
Thank whomever that the Knicks rallied. Jesse Agler, Padres radio. Xander Bogaerts' 2-run single following a 2-run double from Manny Machado, top 8. San Diego coming from behind, a 4-3 win in the Bronx. Yankee reliever Devin Williams already demoted from closer, charged with 3 more runs, raising his ERA to 10.03. Guys, back to you.
Ouch.
Yeah, Pete Alonso broke him last October.
Maybe. Still a long season. Long way to go here.
You know what I think broke him, actually? The Yankees may have shaved that beard before the season started.
But then they changed their whole policy.
I know, but yeah, they grow it back. But whatever powers that were in that beard were gone as soon as that razor hit the chin.
Powers along with whatever his last meal may have been also in the beard.
Yeah, maybe some tacos, maybe some, popcorn.
Well, speaking of which, should we get to my top 5 appetizers?
Oh, yeah.
All right. This came from hour number 1. How did we get on this?
Calamari.
Yes,
right,
Frank in Georgia called to dispel any rumors that calamari may actually be the nether regions of any kind of animal.
Wait, didn't we do this already?
No, I didn't give my top 5 yet.
No, the calamari thing.
Yeah, Frank from Georgia called back in. I was like, Frank, were you the guy who dispelled the rumor? And he said, yes, he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a callback.
Okay.
I said Frank did a great service because a lot of us were questioning our life choices after that calamari rumor went around. Oh, boy. All right, you got a drum roll for me? All right, top 5 appetizers. I'm going with general appetizers like you'd find at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like a fast casual. Number 5, any combination egg roll, spring roll, lettuce roll type of thing, like from an Asian restaurant, right? I think those all deserve to be kind of lumped together. An egg roll, spring roll combination.
Got it.
That's number 5. Number 4 on the list, the only one I'm going to get really specific with an actual chain restaurant, the Cheddar Bay Biscuits from Red Lobster.
Oh, yeah.
Those are lethal. Those are really good.
Yeah.
Number 3 on the list, calamari. This is what got our whole discussion going. Number 2 on the top 5 best appetizers you can order. Got to go nachos. Doesn't matter, vegetarian or with meat, chicken, whatever. And the number 1 best appetizer you can order is chicken wings. I'm from upstate New York. It's religion up there. Chicken wings are the thing.
Yeah,
Oof.
hard to argue with that. Any close calls that you left off?
I did. I thought about your artichoke dip. I ended up leaving out most dips.
Shrimp cocktail's got to be on that.
Hummus,
yeah,
hummus could have been a good one.
What?
Hummus could have been a good one.
Yeah, hummus is great. I love going to Turkish, Lebanese restaurants, Middle Eastern restaurants. Actually, I'm not exactly sure where hummus is from, but I love going to Middle Eastern restaurants, getting hummus, baba ganoush, the whole deal. But I didn't
know
make
if
my
that
top
it's
five.
too healthy for that list. Yeah.
There,
you
when
can't
you're on
have
Cheddar
chicken
Bay
wings.
biscuits.
So-
yeah, Cheddar Bay and hummus.
I've never, ever been to Red Lobster. Do they just give you those biscuits or you have to order them?
They give them to you.
Okay.
And you can eat them and eat them. They also sell them in stores, like supermarkets, that you can bake them at home.
And if you go to a generous Red Lobster, they will give you more.
Yeah.
They'll say, "Oh, you ran out. Do you want some more?" And it's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it's like 2 cents of food.
Bring them out. Yeah, exactly.
Although they're in trouble, right? So maybe they were giving away too many Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Yeah.
I feel bad
Sure,
for you.
that's
You've
why.
never had one, Bogusch.
Yeah, never, ever. My family's not a
How'd
big.
you avoid Red Lobster all these years?
My family is not a big seafood family.
Got it.
So there was no need to ever go there.
Surprised the curiosity didn't get you. All these commercials, all these years.
No, I'm still afraid of most seafood. So
Oh, you don't eat seafood.
I mean, no one does, but I am the after effect of neither of my parents eating it.
Got it.
Afraid of what?
It's
Like
not appealing to
calamari's
me.
really-
I'll have calamari. I'll have shrimp. I'll have like a tuna fish sandwich. But I would never go to like a restaurant and order salmon or anything like that.
Oh, you're missing out. A nice branzino. Oof.
Yeah,
That's
not my
cooked
thing.
well.
Good EJ. Got the Branzino.
Branzino is elite as far as fish is concerned. A nice grilled branzino from like a Mediterranean restaurant.
With the head on?
Yeah.
Gotta have the head on.
I'm more of a Chilean sea bass guy.
This fancy tastes here. Meanwhile, we can do Branzino and Cheddar Bay biscuits. We're
Let's
that kind
do
of
it.
show.
Let's go.
All right, lots more to do, including what was the most shocking moment from last night in the NBA. We've got it for you.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes.
Feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio. Can't believe his eyes. But Bogusch.
Oh, Drunk Uncle Sam's on YouTube. Tune in for some laughs. With a beer in his hand and his feet on the grass, he cheers for the Bogusch and Perloff with a toast to the day. 4th of July is the best, you'll hear him say. Raise your glass, light the sky, it's the 4th once more. Uncle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. Uncle of the Year with a patriotic twist, watching sports and sipping brews, none he's missed. He jokes and he laughs, spills some too, it's alright, 'cause Drunkle Sam's in charge of the fun tonight. Raise your glass, light the sky, it's the 4th once more. Drunkle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. On the fireworks boom and the stars are out, Drunkle Sam's still laughing, oh there's no doubt. So here's to the uncle who loves his brew. Happy 4th of July from the YouTube crew. So watch with Sam have a laugh or two. He's a Raiders fan, silver and black. Watches Maggie and Perloff, never off track. He's cheering for Vegas all season long, but there's a twist in this song that's gone. AJ moves and he's got that hungry look, sitting down for breakfast like a king in a nook. Give me that croissant and make it fucking nice. And don't forget that fresh squeezed OJ is my vice. Eat this ordering bit, what a fucking sight. 30 bucks on breakfast, man, it's out of sight. And you feel lost sweat, can't escape this shit. Lost the bet, no paying, it's a hell of a fit. No, Andrew Perloff says, $1 million baby, nah. Down in San Antonio, there's a man you should know. Kevin Lamelli puts on quite a show. 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, with your squats in a row. A workout machine, he's got that morning glow. Kevin Lamelli, breakfast king. That exact time, hear the sun sing. Sometimes it's oatmeal, he's keeping it clean. But every single morning, he's living the dream.
One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Rebound down to Christian Brown. You got to hurry. 7 seconds. Front court over to Westbrook. Left side Gordon for the win. Yeah! 2.8 seconds left. Coming back the other way. Williams from half court. Baked it no good at the horn. And the Denver Nuggets shock the Oklahoma City Thunder in game number 1. Final tonight, 121 to 119. Oh, baby!
Nuggets radio, it felt like a thievery. It was just unreal how the Nuggets were able to pull this out. Final seconds, it was an 8-0 run in the final minute, Pearl. They closed on a 19-6 run overall. Lots of Jokic, despite the fact that Aaron Gordon was the one who came up with the game winner. But Jokic really carried them in that fourth quarter. It's not news anymore. He's unstoppable, but this could be a real blow to Oklahoma City because I'm not sure how they recover from this.
Oh, I don't agree with that part. I do agree with the first part. I think we're starting to realize that Jokic is an all-time player. If there are any holdouts, like all-time, like maybe top 10.
3-time MVP didn't
no, I don't think
sway any people?
I don't think he made anyone's top 10 list. I still don't think he's top 10. I mean, you'd have to pass some pretty huge names. But I think he's got I think we consider him differently. Do you think he was already there, top 10?
I don't know about top 10. I mean, he's still in the middle of his career. He's probably going to need more titles, quite frankly.
Honestly, now I think now we can consider him, like when I say top, we know he's an all-time player, but like he's moving up the pyramid fast. The Thunder are not dead at all. They still got to be favored in this series, right? I mean, they are the number 1 seed. They were killing them. They were up by 10 with 5 minutes left, and they, I think, played poorly. I think they were a bit rusty. I think there's an adjustment coming.
Yeah, see, I'm not ready. Well, I feel like I actually am kind of ready to bury Oklahoma City, and I might end up regretting that. But there's a couple things that I didn't like from OKC. One, you do have a 10-point lead at home against a team that's coming off a Game 7, right? So they should be tired. They should be the ones who are on shaky legs. And instead, you allowed Jokic basically to close this game on you on your home floor. I don't love that. 2, I didn't love the decision from their head coach, obviously intentionally fouling down the stretch, which didn't work because the Nuggets were hitting their free throws, but also not letting enough time come off the clock when the Nuggets handed you a gift, which was putting Nikola Jokic on the bench, Pearl. And if you had just let more time come off, like, I'll let the other Nuggets beat me. I'm not going to let, while Nikola Jokic is on the bench, I want to be running more time. It was about 13 seconds. They took 1 second off the clock, put Aaron Gordon at the free throw line. He hits both threes, and then, both free throws. Then on the other end, Chet Holmgren gets fouled. He bricks both free throws. I'm worried about the coach. Yeah, that's
not going to happen again.
Well, I'm worried about the coach. I'm worried about the team and I don't say even inexperience of the Thunder. I mean, they were a high seed last year and made a playoff run. I think that Denver may have gotten in their heads a little bit, because it's one thing really to get blown out in a game. I think you recover from that a lot easier than what happened last night for Oklahoma City, which is you had it until literally the last 2 seconds of the game.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, you're right. The Denver did not look like the team that was exhausted, but Thunder have waves of players. The Nuggets have 6 players, maybe 7. Fair. So I do think, I'm sorry, 7 now with Westbrook being competitor. Like, there's going to be some unsteadiness with this Nuggets team. We saw it in the first round. So I just think that there's a long, long way to go. If you want to do a show bet, I would still pick the Thunder. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Jokic is not going to score 42 a game. It's not in his nature at all. At a certain point, he's going to have to rely on these guys. Like, if Porter is really not going to contribute, so now we're down one more player. Can you trust Westbrook to shoot above 500 in several games? No, he was 7 for 13 last night. That'll probably fall off a little bit. There's a lot of reasons OKC can walk out of there and be like, okay, we blew that one, no doubt. But we have some things to build on for sure.
Game 1 upsets were the theme last night because the Knicks also prevailed over Boston, this one in overtime. And the glaring stat that will stand out is that the Celtics attempted 60 3-pointers in this game, only hit 15 of them. And if that's the Knicks' great defense, that's what EJ thinks. Perloff, you think it was a little more about lazy shot selection, especially from Tatum, who was not good down the stretch. 0 for 7 in the fourth quarter, 0 for 5 from 3. He scored 2 points in the fourth quarter and 2 points in the overtime. And this is, presumably your best player. I know Jaylen Brown was the MVP of the finals last year, but Tatum is the guy.
Yeah, I mean, Tatum, I think, will rebound. Are we going to see the real Jaylen Brown? Who's got a knee injury? He's got the knee, and Hottie's got the hammy, and Porzingis has the flu. I mean, there's a lot stacking up. Tatum
has a wrist injury, remember?
Yeah, Tatum has a wrist. Tatum is a great player, all-time player. He can't do it alone. Like, he's not a 1A Michael Jordan, LeBron guy. Can we agree on that? Yeah. He's not even a joker. So he needs a big-time step up from somebody. So the question is, who's it going to be? I think we were talking about Tatum like he was that 1A last year, but you saw it last night. Like, you could take Tatum out.
I think that Tatum's moment, I think, actually came, I want to almost say ironically, right after they lost in the finals to Golden State. I think people believed he was going to take this really huge step. Same thing happened with Devin Booker when they lost to the Nuggets. Remember the Phoenix Suns? And it's like, all right, here's the next face of the league. And it didn't really happen.
Well,
Same thing for Tatum.
Tatum did, though. Tatum won a title.
He's since then,
yeah, he's ascended since then, and Booker went backwards.
Right. I mean, but, to be fair, Tatum was good in the finals, but it was, Jaylen Brown who ended up becoming the thing there. But Tatum's their number one guy.
Tatum actually was a rebounding machine, and ironically, late in the season. Yeah, I just think that Tatum, if I'm Joe Mazzulla, I'm digging into these guys. I know they have a ring, and I know they're veterans, and they're all-stars, and they're Olympics and whatever. Like, I'm going to say, like, if you settle for one more outside shot, I'm going to, wring your neck in Joe Mazzulla style. They were settling so much yesterday.
Well, or the Knicks sort of made adjustments to their roster, particularly bringing in Mikal Bridges to be a defender who can help on these wings. There's no doubt that the Knicks had a strategy when they're building this team, and it was to stop the Celtics.
Well, last night the strategy was let them shoot from outside, right? They were goading Tatum into that shot.
Yeah, because he kept bricking it. To make a contested 3. So we're asking you today, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Which of these game one upsets do you think will actually lead to a series upset? And I don't want to also discount the fact that the Pacers beat the Cavs in game one of their series, and then we get Warriors and T-Wolves tonight.
Yeah. Who's winning that poll? I would imagine.
Nuggets are.
Yeah, the Nuggets feel, because they have the pedigree. They have a championship under their belt. The Knicks do not. I'm not surprised at all. People pick Denver.
Okay, we also have a list, top 5 appetizers of all time, of which I just gave you really quickly. Egg rolls, 5. Cheddar Bay biscuits, 4. Calamari, 3. Nachos, 2. Wings, 1. Sean is in Oregon, thinks I missed a big one. Sean, what's the best appetizer?
You got to have fresh live oyster on the half shell.
Heck yeah.
And that goes with any good seafood restaurant. And I'll let anyone know this. A good restaurant doesn't need to advertise.
Wait, are you talking about the Cheddar Bay biscuits? Because I said they're from Red Lobster?
I ain't never been to a Red Lobster.
Listen, I mean, you're missing out. Like, I don't know, you're laughing. The joke's on you. To be honest, I was going with appetizers that are more like found at most restaurants, kind of chain restaurants. We're doing a national show, Pearl, so we got to find things that people can agree on, right? That everything's familiar. Like, Sean, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm going to like a fast casual type of restaurant or a chain restaurant, I don't know if I'm getting oysters on the half shell.
No,
raw oysters, that's a big risk.
I won't go to those places if I don't have to. I hate when I get dragged to one of those places. I hate any kind of touristy or chain place. I hate any of those kind of places. I really do.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we don't have to pretend we go to Olive Garden just to speak to everybody.
Listen,
here.
You and I've had the Cheddar Bay biscuits. I've been to Olive Garden. I like it. Here's the other part. I think people like consistency. Like, yeah, of course we want to support the mom and pop restaurants. I grew up in the restaurant industry. My parents owned a restaurant, worked their butts off. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But, some people like, hey, I can go to Chili's in Tampa, and I can also go to a Chili's in Fresno, California, and I know I'm getting the same thing.
Can we take this out of the podcast? Because if our good friend Dr. Rock Positano, straight from the Italian coast, hears that you go to Olive Garden, I'm serious, he will disown you as a friend.
Well, I'm more he shouldn't do that. Have you ever seen the Olive Garden in Times Square? That place there's a line out the door.
I'm just saying.
I never been to Olive Garden either.
Sean, thanks for the call.
Olive Garden salads are really good.
Would you do oysters on the half shell from just any restaurant, though?
Olive Garden doesn't have it. Those chain restaurants don't have it. Oyster. No,
well, they might have like a clams casino type of thing, but you got to be careful when you're going with raw seafood.
Yeah, definitely. No, I wouldn't. That sounds awful. What you just described, like some cheap, dicey restaurant and ordering oysters. No way.
Also,
although I had fried oysters for the first time
in New Orleans, probably.
In New Orleans with you. Those were amazing. They felt a little less dangerous too because they were cooked.
I actually think we had those when we were out to dinner with my friend Steph and her friend Samantha, who turned out to be like a world-class musician that none of us knew who she was, which was embarrassing for us. And I had to leave that dinner.
The ultimate, this doesn't really count, but the ultimate appetizer is at a steakhouse, the Seafood Tower. You guys Seafood Tower
fans? I love
fans?
a Seafood Tower. It's so expensive, though.
Yeah, I know. The Seafood Tower, I don't know. In my fantasy where I own an NFL team, I also go to a lot of restaurants and order Seafood Towers. But just for me, so I don't have to share.
There was, when me and Andrea we were vacationing in San Diego, there was a pool, like a rooftop pool, where you could reserve a seat and you could reserve a spot at the pool, but you had to pay like $250 worth of food and alcohol. Of course, you guys know I don't drink, so it makes it very tricky.
Right.
So we had to pay for 2 Seafood Towers.
Well, that's not bad.
That's a great save.
I know, but it was a lot of food, and we were there all day.
And you're in the pool eating?
No, it's like beach. No, we have beach chairs.
Oh, okay.
So there's like beach chairs. It was a very nice hotel, but it's like beach chairs everywhere. So you got to order food, you got to order drinks, and if you're with a bunch of people, like it's pretty easy to get to $250. But it was 2 people, and we can't buy alcohol. That makes it a little harder. So,
yeah, my former job at Dan Patrick's show, our bosses and the corporate used to buy us. We used to go to places that had Seafood Towers, and there were a lot of Seafood Towers ordered. But there's a lot of pressure, like everyone's watching, like who's going to take that expensive lobster tail. And then if you take it, you can't enjoy it because everyone's looking at you like. It's hard to share.
I think it's easier to share with like a significant other, group of friends, close friends. But yeah, out to dinner in a corporate setting, I'd probably just take like a couple,
You
like
wouldn't
a
enjoy
clam
it.
or an oyster, and
You
probably
wouldn't
call
enjoy
it a day.
Although I got to tell you, sharing with my wife has gotten harder.
In what way?
As we've gotten in, as intimacy has grown through the years, she does not let me share like she used to. When we first started dating, I could basically eat off a plate at will. Now she's like, I'm tired of this crap. Get your own thing.
Good for Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah. No, good for Sarah. Absolutely. Like I used to say, like, okay, I'm going to order this, and you're going to order this, and I'm going to take half of your whatever.
Yeah.
And now she's giving up
standing
on
up for
that.
herself.
Yeah, she's standing up for herself, and she's like, if you want that appetizer, you order that appetizer.
If you want the Cheddar Bay biscuits,
Yeah.
you get your own basket.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Are you and Andy, do you have sort of what I order is yours and what you order is mine?
Absolutely. And I feel bad for him because when you come into my family, it's expected that your whole plate is free reign for everybody. And I know this bothers a lot of people. It's for everyone. My friends who eat out with us, it's like whatever is on your plate, everyone is entitled to a taste, and you're expected to offer taste to everybody.
Oh, that makes me. Oh,
yeah.
I know. We're those people. And we're the people who order everything.
Oh, what do you mean?
Tough.
Like order multiple?
Just, multiple appetizers, entrees to share, like it just order on top of order on top of order. So you're getting a lot of food, but you are expected to share it with my family.
See, I can't do that because my brain, when I order at a restaurant, I order a particular meal.
No, it
like
freaks people out.
This is the meal I'm eating. So it's like, is this appetizer? Is this entree? It's not like half of my entree and then like some other random food that I didn't order I probably didn't even want.
I know.
what
EJ,
if
it'd be a challenge for you to eat with us.
What if you're at a restaurant and they have an option of order for yourself or family style, and everybody there wants to do order for yourself so badly, but you feel pressured in doing family style? Then this happens at steakhouses a lot. Do you want to do the ribeye for 4, or do you want to order your own steak? And it's always disappointing to share. I hate sharing food. Yeah,
You gonna eat that? You don't eat breakfast here, so I can't even ask you to share.
Well, if
Not
we
that
ever go to a
share
steak restaurant, I'm not doing the tomahawk for 3. I hate that. Because then you're weighing your food intake compared to like, did that person get enough? Oh God. I'm with EJ. I want my individual order right in front of me.
You just want to put barbed wire up around your plate.
Yeah. The worst is I had a former friend who would ask for a bite of my soup. And then I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
A former friend? That ended the friendship?
Yes. No.
Like, what was the falling out about? It's
I
like
was going to say
butternut
former
squash.
coworker, but I didn't want to be too specific.
Oh, God.
Current friend who always would ask for a bite of my lobster bisque. I have no integrity.
Feels weird coming from Todd Fritz. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. I don't think Fritzy would ever ask you to share anything.
No, Todd was like EJ. Like he wanted something right in front of him. He wanted barbed wire around his dish. And I think I'm getting like that. I used to pretend that I liked family style. Next time we all go out, we're ordering individually.
Well, it sounds like you and your wife are actually developing the same kind of characteristics. She doesn't want to share with you anymore, and you don't want to share with her. Pretty soon you're sleeping in separate beds, guys. This is a slippery slope.
I'm not getting away with any of my normal shenanigans at restaurants.
How many years in are you? Almost 20?
15, yeah.
Almost 2 decades, and now the shenanigans have ended. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476.
Wow. It's 16. Sorry. How many years are you in?
10 for marriage. But we were together for 5 years before that.
Whoa.
Which I always say time served and nobody laughs. I mean it as a joke.
How long have you been with your fiance, EJ?
Since 2016.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got engaged last year.
Taking your time, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
This career, this industry is tough. I didn't want to be a broke bum asking someone who has a good career to marry them.
I thought you were waiting for the Mets to win a World Series and you just finally gave up.
No, that's not it. But though, since the Mets have the best record in baseball since we got engaged. No kidding.
Right, and you were at a Mets game, right?
And we were at a Mets. We went to the Mets game later that day in London.
Right.
Yep.
Look at that.
There you go.
I think this is.
There's
definitely a correlation.
I mean, it's as good a shot as any.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What else we got with the Mets, right?
I was going to say, you better be treating her right. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay. Apparently, I'm seeing here that a crisis PR agency has reached out to Belichick or has given him a 7-point plan of how to handle this storm that's going on between him and his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. They just can't seem to do anything right now. See if we agree with what their recommendations are. And, of course, we've got some college football news for you as well. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff Show. A lot going on today. We got Maggie's top 5 appetizers, starters. How's the reaction been to that?
Pretty mixed.
Yeah.
Pretty mixed, but I don't think anyone's complaining with my number 1, which is wings.
Yeah, I don't even think that, I don't even know if that belongs on the list because that can also be a meal.
But so could nachos, if you really wanted to.
I
which
think
is
it's
number 2 on the list.
I think it's different. I mean, nobody's like, what are you going to, hey, I'm going to order mozzarella sticks for my meal.
Like, what are you, 5?
And you said chicken wings. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Not buffalo wings.
Sure. Buffalo wings, chicken wings, the same.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I didn't want to sound fancy, but I would have gone higher end. I like the oyster call. I like shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, I put calamari on the list at 3.
That's not high end. That's bait fish. You know, it happens to be breaded for you to eat it.
And delicious. The Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster. And then
But
an
you're not
egg rolls, spring rolls combination, whatever one you like.
You're not putting calamari in the same category as shrimp or crab or any of that.
No, I didn't. I wasn't. I was going with, like, you know, if you went to Chili's or Applebee's, like what you want to order.
All right.
Something like that. Let's go to PJ. He's in Atlanta. What's up, PJ?
Yeah, you're not going to Chili's and getting a spring roll.
No, that'd be more for an Asian restaurant.
Mozzarella sticks are a starter.
Yes.
And I don't care what you're supposed to. Sorry, my voice is all banged up, but what are you doing? Spring rolls, or where are you going? You're in New York. Good Lord.
I know.
What are you doing? Mozzarella sticks come out in like 5 minutes, just like chips and salsa at every Mexican restaurant. They come out in 8 seconds.
Yep.
That's your appetizer. Figure it out.
So wait, you have a problem with me ordering the spring rolls because they take too long?
That is a correct statement.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, you're probably like a picky eater with the groups and all the stuff for everybody, every other people. Just get your stuff, knock it out, eat.
PJ, egg roll comes out in 3 seconds at a Chinese.
They're already
3
made.
seconds.
No, I'll bet you mozzarella sticks come out faster than egg rolls. What do you
They're
want
both fried. I mean, I think it'd be kind of the same, no?
Well, Chinese restaurants are famous for like, wait, how is that hot already? You know, I
well,
think
the takeout definitely.
and almost
like
a creepy way.
You hang
up
the phone and they ring the doorbell.
Yeah,
like,
because I think
it's
they have all this stuff under a heat lamp in the back. So you know what I'm saying, PJ? Like they might have egg rolls under a heat lamp.
Of course, I understand what you're saying. Mozzarella sticks come out faster than egg rolls.
You got to put the mozzarella sticks.
I put $10 on it.
Oh.
Well, I think this sounds like a delicious experiment.
Now we got to do it, PJ.
Yeah.
Also, you got me all wrong. I'm not a picky eater. I said my family, we demand bites from everybody at the table, but we'll eat everything.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have said spring roll. That sounded pretty fancy.
Oh, fancy. Egg roll? It's like 75 cents.
Can we have a conversation about dumplings? Because that's, a fashionable food right now. I don't know if it's an appetizer or a meal. My daughter, growing up in Brooklyn, New York, is a dumpling aficionado. We know where to go to Chinatown.
So she does dim sum.
Yeah, dim sum. Oh, we go to dim sum, get sick every time. It's awesome.
Because you eat so much?
There's this thing called, I don't know. Maybe it's not the cleanest restaurant on earth. Anyway, do you guys know what a rice roll is? It's this hot new food. It's basically shrimp in this sort of rice flatbread pasta, and it's the most amazing thing you ever tasted.
Oh my God, I'm looking at a picture of this. This looks amazing.
Yeah, there's a very famous place on Canal Street, not far from now. I could take you guys. You will love it, and it's so unhealthy and so delicious. But dumplings is that a starter, Maggie?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Could be a side dish.
Yeah.
And that is great.
I feel like it's like
dumplings.
wings. You could have it as an appetizer or an entree.
Yeah. A little lighter than wings.
And I feel like dumplings are much more mainstream now than, say, 10 years ago.
I'm not a dumplings guy.
Why?
Overrated?
Yeah, I'm just not a dim sum guy.
Yeah.
I just rather...
I'm still hungry after I eat them. That's the problem.
Gotta eat a lot.
I know. Well, then what am I doing? I'm
But they're not that expensive.
shoveling them in my mouth.
It's too light.
We go to a dim sum place not far. It is hard to walk away from there hungry. We overeat.
Can I just also bring, you're welcome to weigh in on this appetizer thing, by the way, at 888-710-4ISN. We talk about everything on the show. Can I tell you, Perloff in the last break gave me one of the looks that's only reserved for like a couple things that I've ever said since we started doing the show together. Like, really, I'll know sometimes when I like touch a nerve, you'll be like, no. And then I'll say other things and you'll get very quiet.
I've seen this. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, when you get quiet is like when I'm like, all right, this is the real judgment. And so I turned to Pearl in the break and I said, I think I'd be really good at crisis PR. Like, I think in real life, I think I could really help Bill Belichick, right? He's going through it right now. We've got a crisis PR thing put out, like a 7-step plan for him. I'll read you some of them of how to like get around this Jordan Hudson.
Step 1, dump Jordan Hudson. Step 2, that's all.
Yeah, right. Refer to step 1.
Yeah,
you're hired.
That'll be $500 an hour. I'm being serious here, and the look, the non-answer you gave me made me. I realize where you stand. I'm not even going to make you say it. You actually, don't think I'd be good at crisis PR.
I actually was totally neutral on the idea. And then you follow up by saying that, I think I know the media pretty well. Then I'm like, oh, I'm out.
I'm in the media.
Yeah, but you have trouble predicting where the media is going sometimes, famously. You have a lot of confidence in your media takes. I will give you that.
Yeah, that's not helping either.
I don't know what makes you skilled. And I don't think you had an easy time answering this. Why would you be a good crisis management counselor?
I do think I'd be able to get to Belichick because I was looking at this 7-step plan that Front Office Sports has talked to these crisis PR people. And I think I would have done something very similar here, right? The first thing, stick to football, right? Make it more about the football. Maybe this is obvious, but Belichick we have not had a football story with Belichick in weeks, it feels like.
How would you achieve that in May in Chapel Hill, North Carolina?
Well, zip it would be number 1 because number 2 on their list is cancel the book tour.
Oh, God, you can't do that.
Oh, okay. If you're not going to cancel the book tour, then I would go to NFL Network or just sports outlets.
I like that. That's good.
It's not like Tony DeCopel and CBS's fault that Belichick and his girlfriend acted so ridiculous in that interview. But I'm not saying sports people are not going to ask you about Jordan Hudson. If Belichick would come on this show, we would ask him about it. We'd feel compelled to.
Right.
But there is a football side of Belichick that he has to remind people that this is why we respect him, is because of the football acumen, not because he ever did great interviews he's always been awkward. And I think if he started doing some more outlets on sports shows, he may have a better outcome here.
Nobody's going to care. I mean, they just want to see the Instagram photos of him in the raincoat reeling in the mermaid Jordan Hudson. He could go on NFL Network and do 10 hours on how great Lawrence Taylor is.
Right.
I'm sorry. This cat is out of the bag with Jordan Hudson. Too late. See, crisis management, the crisis is full bloom. Like, that is not going to stop this train.
Okay, well, then the other thing that you have to have a conversation with him and Jordan Hudson, either her whole Instagram feed has now got to be North Carolina football and her own beauty pageant stuff or whatever she does in her spare time, and not their relationship. She's got to chill on the social media because it feels like she's using him for clicks and clout on her social, when if you want it to be about North Carolina football, fine, but it can't be about you doing yoga on the beach with Grandpa Bill because it looks weird.
I think the reason this is a crisis is because that's not who Jordan Hudson is, and that's not who Bill Belichick is. So I don't think you can change them. Even if I'm paying you $300 an hour for this, I think you would have no impact. Those 7 rules. Honestly, Bill Belichick, how long has he been in the public eye? Since 1994. He hasn't learned a darn thing in 35 years. Nothing. He's never been good, and he never will be good. And Jordan Hudson, from everything I could tell, there's not much to work with there as far as PR.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're right. Belichick's been famous since before that. I mean, those Giants Super Bowls were before that, and he was the defensive coordinator. So he was, I think he was very well known.
But we didn't know it was weird then.
No, but I'm just saying he's been weird for 35, 40
That's what
years.
I'm saying. Yeah.
But we never associated, it was never the number one thing on his CV. Like, it was never the number one thing with Belichick. It was winner football coach.
That's because he had Brady. Wow. Well, I mean, on to Cincinnati and all the famous, it was not far from, you yes, he's a winner, but also he is the strangest human being ever with the media.
Okay, and I'm
ever.
gonna be honest.
There's not even a close second. Not Popovich, not anyone.
Fair. He could have given those weird answers to CBS Sunday Morning, and we wouldn't have thought anything about it because we're used to this from Belichick. It was when she interjected. That's the only.
That's true.
That's the only moment this got weird. Hell, people on the outside who don't cover sports are like, how could he have shown up in a tatted sweatshirt? It's like they call him the hoodie. You know, we have a certain threshold for Belichick because he's been acting this way for so long.
Yeah,
it's when she interjected, that's when this story changed.
I do agree. So basically your advice is separate the two of them publicly.
She's got to chill.
I know, but that's why this is a crisis because she is defiant.
Well, then he's got to get the message to her. Like at some point you got to help yourself. If you're hiring a crisis PR, you got to take their advice.
He didn't actually hire this.
No, but there was a report from Mike Florio a couple days ago that he did talk to a PR firm, but not crisis PR.
Right, and they'd been talking to them for months before the CBS interview. So, and somehow that headline came out that Bill Belichick's talking to a crisis PR. He had been talking to a former NFL PR person about helping to sell the book.
Right.
I just don't think you can. There's nothing to work with Bill Belichick. At the end of the day, he doesn't really care. Now, here's the issue. What if North Carolina stinks? God, that would be embarrassing.
And she's still doing the thing with the photos on Instagram. It's a calamity. It's an all-time disaster for a legacy of a guy who should be known for one thing and one thing only, which is winning football games.
I think, and I honestly have been rethinking my balance between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and I hate to say it because it makes no sense, but this is all impacting the way I think about who gets credit for the Patriots dynasty. And if he goes out there and say he's 4-8 with North Carolina, that's not going to help.
I'm telling you, this guy needs me now more than ever as his crisis PR agent.
Are you a quarterback?
It might be better than whoever. No, he's got. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Who did he land with? I can't even remember. It was someone
from South Alabama, right? Wasn't that big transfer? No, thank you, Nico Iamaleava. We're going to go with this other guy. Who, listen, Belichick may turn him into the next Brady.
This thing is not going to go well.
Belichick,
it's bad. It's bad. Like, they don't have good players. He's messing around like this.
Easy schedule.
I know. But
that's true.
We say that about the ACC, but it's easy. Everyone in the ACC thinks they have an easy schedule, but they don't realize they're all in the ACC. So North Carolina, you're also an ACC school. So like Miami, every year we could say, oh, this schedule is easy. We should be able to get by these teams. And
they did.
Then Georgia Tech shows up, and then you're like, how can we beat this team? How can we beat Syracuse? Like, and that is the mind trick that every ACC school does. They think it's an easy schedule, but you're also an ACC school. All the talent is even.
We've had one.
To be
fair,
they do have to play Clemson this year. Yeah. They avoid
Miami. They're going to
get
smoked by them.
We have one undefeated team in the last 2 years, and that was an ACC team who beat a bunch of terrible teams. That's Florida State. So I don't agree with that take at all. I think you can easily go on a run in the ACC. They're bad teams, EJ, and you know it.
No, but they're North Carolina. That's my point. Like, they're not Florida State. They're not Clemson. Like, they're not. That's what I'm trying to say is that when I meant ACC schools, I wasn't necessarily talking about the big dogs. I'm talking about the NC States, the Georgia Techs. I'm sorry, I have to mention Miami. They've never won an ACC title. And every year they look at the schedule and say, well, you know what? Maybe our team has holes, but we could beat these guys. Like, no, you're those guys.
Right.
Clemson and FSU looks at you as food. Right. You're the food, not them. It doesn't make sense.
That is fair.
But they've been 8-4 since the beginning of time. They're not a bottom feeder by any means. They're always the same record.
If he's 8-4, he's Mac Brown. Why'd you bring him here if he's 8-4?
I think at this point he would take that, right? We'd be okay with 8-4.
Maybe in year one, but not year two. He's expected to make the college football playoff. It's Bill Belichick.
College football playoff. He's got. I just looked at his name, Gio Lopez from South Alabama, a quarterback. He doesn't have the talent to make the college football playoff.
Well, this is the year one. You get a little grace period. He's switching from pro to college, and then it's time to figure it out.
I've lowered my expectations so much on this. North Carolina football, I don't see that as a possibility at all. I'd be beyond shocked.
Larry Fedora won 10 games there. Like, he can't win 8 games.
I don't think so. Let's get to Bogusch.
11.
He's got headlines for us. Let's sneak him in, Bogusch.
One more poll question this morning. Is it too late to demand a recount for the NBA's Mr. Clutch Trophy?
Brunson up for the lead. Oh, man. Timeout, Boston. Timeout, Boston. With time on the clock, but how much?
He could not have asked if you're Jalen Brunson
for a better look.
Reggie Miller wasn't
so mean.
wrong on TNT. Brunson missing the game winner at the rim at the end of the fourth quarter, allowing game one in Boston to go to overtime, where Mikal Bridges came to the rescue.
Inside Anunoby, backing down Tatum, far side block, 2 dribbles with the right hand, half spin, kick out Bridges, far corner 3. It's good! Mikal Bridges from the far corner puts the Knicks up by 6.
And then Bridges stripped Jaylen Brown on the Celtics' last chance. The Knicks somehow winning 108-105 in overtime after trailing 75-55 mid-third quarter. The Celtics missed a single-game postseason record 45 threes, 15 of 60 overall. That negated being plus 10 on the glass and getting 14 missed free throws from those Knicks.
I'm going to ignore Bogusch's cruelty over there and his saltiness to ask you guys a very important question, because I was amazed that Andrea didn't know this. Do any of you guys know, I'm going to exclude Alex because I know he knows, do you guys know what an emote is?
Yes.
Okay.
Emoting?
Yeah, like an emote. Yeah, an emote.
But it's a noun, not a verb
Yeah,
in this
an
question.
emote.
No, I don't.
An emote?
Yes.
Not an emoji?
E-M-O-T-E. No, yeah, an emote.
I don't.
Damn.
Is that what it sounds like?
So basically, if you're watching on the stream, I'm basically doing the Mikal Bridges emote, which is
You mean celebration?
celebration. It's an emotional.
It's essentially a celebration.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
a video game term. That's how I know it.
Yeah. So
Son.
Mikal Bridges, he had a big 3 last night. He's doing his emotes.
So like the gritty would be Justin Jefferson's
Yes,
emote.
exactly.
All right.
So if you
Seems
play-
like you're unnecessarily complicating things, but okay.
play Fortnite.
Yeah.
These are emotes.
Ah, got it. Okay.
So, there were plenty of great emotes from the Knicks last night because of that win. Brunson 3, Mikal Bridges doing all the stuff. It was fun.
I thought those were called dances in Fortnite. They're not. They're also Fortnite dances, right? I'm not that out of it.
There are Fortnite, but like
is
now,
that where the gritty came from too?
But like they're called emotes in the game now. I don't know what the evolution of the term is or was.
This is the public service announcement
dance?
to America. Got that? Emotes all on the same page?
I didn't know that humans could do an emote. I thought it was a video game only thing.
No, because now when someone does a celebration, they're either calling it now a celly or for short or an emote. So like
It says to portray emotion in a theatrical manner.
Yeah, no, we all got it. We all got it.
I told Andrea, well, I was watching the game and I was doing the Brunson emote.
Yeah.
And she's like, what are you doing? I'm saying, I'm doing the Brunson emote. And she's like, what's an emote? And I was like, come on, you're not 50. How do you not know what this is?
Man,
You're not Perloff.
And this is why people listening in their cars all across America are just like shaking their heads. Kids today. Back to you, Bogusch.
Chet Holmgren missed 2 free throws, giving the Nuggets a chance to steal game 1 in OKC, and Aaron Gordon drilled the go-ahead 3 with 2.8 seconds left.
When I shot it, did I know it was in? I knew it wasn't a miss. Yeah.
Just as improbable as the Knicks, Denver won this opener 121-119 after trailing by 11 with 4.5 minutes left in OKC. Gordon hit the big shot, but Nikola Jokic had 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 6 assists. William Nylander, 2 goals, 1 assist. Toronto held off Florida 5-4 to start their second-round series. And one more Manny mention from me this morning. He got a home run last night from Matt Olson for our derby, but it was unique and it was painful.
There he goes. 3-2 in the air, down the left field line, slicing towards the corner, racing over and sliding to it, Callahan, and then into the sidewall. He's dropped the ball, and everybody's going to continue to run. Riley trots to the plate. Callahan is injured. Olsen around third. He'll come around, and he will score. But Callahan went into the sidewall and lost the ball. He had it for a moment.
Ben Ingram on Braves radio. Olsen a 2-run inside the park homer because Reds rookie left fielder Tyler Callahan broke his left forearm, crashing into that sidewall, trying to make that catch. The Braves won the game 4-0.
Honestly, I know that's bad. It could have been worse.
It could have been worse.
His head was right there.
Yes. It also was not it sounded bad on TV. I don't know if they have an effects mic in that corner, but you could hear the smack. And then he was immediately writhing in pain. I thought his arm might have been like mangled, so visually it wasn't terrible, but the dude still broke his arm trying to make a catch.
Manny gets the credit for the homer.
He does. It goes in the book as a homer for Manny.
Knowing him, he'll take no shame in this being the way he gets a homer.
Exactly.
He's desperate.
Oh, man, that is awful.
That
and
is-
you can tell because it's the away crowd, right? It's Braves home game. So this was a Reds player, and the whole crowd was like, ooh.
Yeah.
They couldn't even celebrate because they were so, freaked out.
Outfield collisions, I think, are still. I mean, I know we've kind of basically gotten rid of the home plate collisions, but those are still, to me, like the most harrowing plays in baseball. Whether it's crashing into a wall or crashing into each other.
Because it's always blindside.
Yeah, you just don't see it coming, or a guy's going so fast to make a play, and you respect the effort, but like, oh my gosh, like some of the injuries you see are just. The Mike Cameron and Carlos Beltran plays. That's still.
I can't.
It's something I will never forget. It's
I always
crazy.
wonder how teammates get past it too, because when it's like a home plate or it's hockey, it's always your opponent. But when it's your teammate, how do you go back to trusting them?
I know.
I don't know. Anyway, off that upper news, thank you, Bogusch.
I can give you a football scheduling note if you want.
What do you got?
Notre Dame and Clemson, a 12-year agreement starting in 2027, playing every single year.
Oh.
Okay.
There's that.
Because normally they play the ACC schedule, right? So don't they normally rotate? But now they're just going to eliminate Clemson from the rotation.
I guess so.
Is it going to just alternate home games? Are they going to try to do this in some weird neutral field or just?
I don't see that.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah. So for Notre Dame, obviously, it always gives them a good game because theoretically Clemson will always be good.
Right.
Regardless of the rest of the ACC.
As far as strength and schedule is concerned.
Yeah.
But, sometimes Notre Dame, because, they play Navy, but they have to do it at MetLife Stadium because there's too many, they have too many fans.
Yeah.
Or what have you.
Good for the ACC school in Clemson, and Notre Dame. Because the SEC, these guys are ducking smoke left and right.
This says this will count towards Notre Dame's ACC requirement.
So now they have to play probably, I guess, 2 teams or 3 teams.
So
they play 4 teams.
They play 5.
5.
What
okay.
year did you say this was?
So So they were already scheduled to play like almost every other year, and now they're going to play every year starting in 2027 through 38.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't the ACC going to be gone by then?
Well, there's also that.
I didn't think about that.
Didn't think about that either. Well, we'll see. 888-710-4ISN. Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, we do have more for you on the NFL news that we are just talking about. More in a moment.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie and Perloff Show. All right, it's always good to know where you stand with your coworkers. Perloff does not think I'd be a good crisis PR person. I happen to disagree. I think I could really help Bill Belichick navigate these stormy waters. But Eric is in Boise, wants to weigh in on Belichick and how he just can't seem to get out of the news. What's up, Eric?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I was thinking, the more that people talk, the more you learn about them. And, one of the things about Bill Belichick for the longest time was he was able to get away with the on to Cincinnati. Well, now he's getting all this exposure and everybody's just seeing him for what he is, and it's just awful. And, you can't tell somebody like Bill Belichick what to do. I mean, those guys have gotten where they are because of that. But, I mean, honestly, and it's going to continue to go this way, he's just an average coach. His record without Lawrence Taylor and without Tom Brady, it's a losing record.
I know, But Eric, are you going to say Phil Jackson's an average coach because he had Kobe and he had Jordan?
How about Popovich without Duncan? Going to go there. Phil Jackson
but Popovich
definitely.
has been able to do it for decades, though. He's been able to do it. I mean, he did it pre-Duncan. He did it after Duncan.
Not much. I would disagree with that.
Well,
the last years were more Kawhi, I think, than Duncan.
I was going to say they were more Kawhi, and then the last couple years have been not good, but they were clearly trying to tank and reshape the franchise.
I got to disagree with that. But I think Duncan was the heart and soul of that team. I think when he left, it was going to be bad.
Kawhi was Finals MVP, and they won a title.
Yeah, I know, but Duncan was there. I'm just saying.
He was there.
Look at his win-loss record from the day Duncan retired. I think Phil Jackson was heavily dependent on his players. I mean, obviously, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant.
I know, but are you really going to say that Bill Belichick, because he coached Lawrence Taylor and because he found Brady, does he get no credit for also, he skipped on him for 5 rounds, but then he's the one who not just got Brady. I think Belichick deserves a lot of credit, but Drew Bledsoe was $100 million quarterback in the year 2000. That's not like it was now, where guys are making $250 million. The investment was in Bledsoe, and Bledsoe got hurt, and Belichick never went back to him. He broke protocols there. You could still see that Bledsoe is still pretty chapped about it. Now he jokes about it, but he stuck with Brady and rolled with Brady. He gets no credit for any of that. He really stuck his neck out in that and proved to be right.
Got lucky.
Oh, come on.
By the way, Bledsoe probably would have won that Super Bowl anyway. He looked pretty good in the game before.
I mean, then Bledsoe would have went on and won more Super Bowls
I'm
other
just
places.
trolling you now, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear what you're saying, but that feels a long way away from we're not talking about this.
I just
You just had to go to 2001.
no, but you're saying it's all Brady. Well, who made Brady?
Brady, Mr. and Mrs. Brady.
Well,
No, I think
technically.
I mean I'm kind of being playful here because you're right. It's a combination of the two. But I do think in reality, you're talking about PR crisis management. The balance is changing. The more this goes on, the more people are going to remember is Brady's Patriots.
Terry is in Texas. I gave you my top 5 appetizers. Egg rolls, spring rolls is 5, Cheddar Bay biscuits at 4, calamari 3, nachos 2, wings 1. Terry, you think I left out some really important ones?
Absolutely. Y'all got my inner fat kid all riled up this morning. You got to have fried pickles, Southwest egg rolls, any version of a bloomin' onion. If you're at Texas Roadhouse or something, you need some cinnamon butter and some rolls. And if a restaurant were to be so bold as to put them on their menu, I'd take some deviled eggs while I'm at it.
Oh, man, I love a deviled egg. That's got to be homemade, though, to me, Terry. I'm not going to a restaurant for my deviled eggs.
But if you're at
Well, definitely the fried pickles, though. That's a big one, at least in Texas. That's the thing.
Counterpoint, Maggie,
thank
if you're
you.
at a wedding and there's deviled eggs, aren't you down in 15 of those bad boys? You don't have to be at home.
Yeah,
I don't ever eat deviled eggs.
I don't see them on menus that much.
No, I'm saying that they're usually at
If at a party or something like that. Okay, maybe you're right.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You make them at home. That's interesting. I think most people eat them out.
Fried pickles? Are you in or out?
Yeah, fried pickles are pretty good. You got to have the orange sauce. I don't know what that is. Like a chipotle-ish.
Yeah, whatever they're serving at Hooters, they're doing a good job there. It's the only place I've ever had a fried pickle, and it was delicious. And that's just a little about me. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you, Alex Azarm. It's been a while. I got you. Thank you, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, Weedos and Coffee Drinkers. We'll see you tomorrow for the great debate.